Yeah, yeah. And so before we started here, we were talking about how.
Whoa! The jazz music's coming in though, right?
No, that's
man, did I miss that?
That's the post edit. Oh, so when you were here, I was still doing the foot pedal.
The first time I came.
Yeah, I was still doing the foot pedal music thing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
I like that.
God, that was so long ago.
Yeah.
Oh, things have changed.
Good days.
Yeah.
Good days.
So, yeah. So when Blake first came on the show, he actually messaged me. He said, "Can I come on your show?" I was like, "Fuck."
I never met him.
It had to be like 2 weeks later, right?
Mm-hmm. And I brought a 6-pack of Creamy Dark and a book of the Encyclopedia of Legos.
Yeah,
that's right.
The history of Legos.
Yeah, and from there we talked for 3 hours, and I was freaking out because it doesn't normally happen where you just meet somebody and you just talk and talk and talk.
Did you know of Blake before you came on the show?
I knew him as Blake Watson, PNC Sports.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he didn't have the beard, and you were just a little bit heavier, right?
I don't know. I feel like I haven't changed. I mean, I didn't work out any more or any less. I didn't eat any more or any less. I wasn't less depressed or any more depressed or anything like that. So I feel like I haven't really changed. Like kind of like Jim from The Office, I don't really change. But if I seemed heavier, maybe I was.
Yeah, I don't know.
I had a gym membership then, so maybe I just had a maybe.
Yeah, when I saw him walk through the door, I didn't picture him to look like him. You know what I mean? I think it was when I looked at your Instagram pictures, then I was like, oh, okay, I get an idea, but.
And there's not a lot of pictures of me on Instagram.
No.
It's mostly like it's kind of like a Tumblr. Yeah, it's kind of like a Tumblr.
It's
landscape.
usually like that though with radio personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that though?
When you hear their voice, you imagine, I think after you hear their voice for a certain period of time, you start building an image of what you think they look like. Because I remember growing up and listening to Ray Gibson on Hit Radio 100, the afternoon show. Yeah. And back then, there was no internet. There was, the show wasn't on TV the way that PNC radio stuff is now.
Right. And K57 and even Ray's still live on Facebook.
Yeah. And when I first
actually I like the new layout that he has, and it always like switches. Has them kind of like side by side, and the scrolling thing, and
the crawl.
Yeah, the crawl and the people messaging and stuff. Yeah.
So when I first saw him in person, I think I was in middle school. And I think I was at a Ganya shopping center or something like that.
Was it Townhouse then?
Just go ahead and pull the mic just a little
Was
closer.
it Townhouse then?
Yeah, it was still Townhouse.
I wasn't even here for that. I just heard stuff.
And I was like, what? That's Ray Gibson? No way. Because it totally did not look like what I had thought of in my mind, which was probably more like Ricky Martin.
And back then, there wasn't...
Ricky Martin Gibson.
There wasn't the video, right, aspect of radio yet.
You had to show up to the live events if you wanted to see what they look like.
Yeah. So no.
Because I mean, like Rick and Ronnie did like a gorilla thing, right, for a long time, where like they had like a gorilla run around the island. They didn't know.
No.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I heard of. Yeah, I think. So Aaron, my coworker Aaron Tamayo, I believe he was telling me about that. I think it was maybe early. It was either Power 98 or early days of Hit Radio, where they had like the whatever gorilla. And then it was one of them, but like I don't know, it was just a radio stunt of some kind.
I remember when I-94 first came around, and they were passing out flyers on the road in Agana at Paseo Loop. As you're passing by, they'll give you like a black and white, like photocopied flyer that says 94 Jams, listen to us on 94 Jams, yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden, they just blew up from there. It's like, poof. Pop radio,
right? And they immediately hit the ground running with like with the Malfunction.
No,
crew,
I think
right?
Malfunction.
Did they come later?
Hit Radio 100.
Yeah,
they started there, right?
Because I remember going to Hit Radio back in the early 2000s, and Julius was doing the production on a radio spot that I used to work for John Moffness at By Design. I was a production artist for him.
Okay.
And so it was around that time, which was like 2000, 2001, and Julius was at Hit Radio at the time.
Okay. Yeah, so it's Hit Radio 100, and then they moved to I-94 like a couple years later. I don't know.
Something like that. I don't know. You had them on.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to that episode. It was a good episode.
That was a super long time ago.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, dude, that was like double digits, right? Like episode like 70 or something.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, before we get away, get out of hand, and we don't talk about Josie here. I just want to know, where all I know about you from at least Instagram or social media is that you're a writer, but what are you all about? Where you come from? Where did you grow up at? Stuff like that.
I grew up here. My parents split up when I was very young. I was born in San Francisco.
Right.
My father's Chamorro. He's from here. And so I came out here to live with my dad in the late 80s. And he was a single father, so I was raised by my dad. And I went to GW, graduated from GW, and then right after that, just went right into the workforce. And
you've been here ever since?
Yes.
And so you just kind of stuck with freelance, or did you?
No, I started off working. I think I was working at a coffee shop, and then I got a job at Gibson's, and then a coworker of mine at Gibson's worked for a telecom company.
Right.
And she said, "Oh, we have an opening for cashier," and I was like, "Okay." And I was like 18 or 19 at the time, so I'm like, "Yeah, let's go. It's fine." Because I didn't like inventory and retail.
Right.
So I was working at this telecom company, and then in the late 90s, that's when the internet came to Guam.
Right.
I think it was like they launched internet service for consumers in 98. The name of the company at the time was
56K. Right?
Yeah.
But you used to have to pay, right? By like the megabyte or like by like the, right? Yeah, by like the page or something.
You know what? I don't remember. I think it was either you paid for, you had like two speeds, like the 28.8 and then the 36.
Right.
Yeah, right.
36,
Yeah.
okay. And then the big thing was like 56K and V90.
V90.
Yeah.
One of those T9 lines too. Those T9.
2000.
Yeah. So while I was working at this telecom company, it was great timing because the internet was new. No one really knew what it was, and by then I had moved into customer service, and I was working swing. So I was working 4 o'clock to 1 o'clock, 4 in the afternoon to 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Where I just like to know this. Where physically was your office?
It is.
I just like to think of. And what year is this?
2000. It was like 1998.
Okay.
99.
98, 99. And
It's in the building now.
I was around 12 years old.
all right.
So
So
13.
So
Yeah,
12 years
I'm
old, and it
older
was.
than you. So it was in the building across the legislature where Galiti Group is.
Okay.
Okay.
Upstairs,
All right. Okay.
Right.
Cool.
So yeah, it was in that building, and
So you're like in a Ganya, just.
Oh yeah, right on
yeah.
Chalan Santo Papa.
Yeah.
And so I was working 4 in the afternoon to 1 in the morning, answering calls and helping people make their long distance calls. And no one hardly ever called in around that time. So because I had free access and to the internet, I started learning how to code HTML.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And that's back when because now you could just sign up to like
had-
Squarespace or something, but
You
like,
were-
yeah, that's when you actually had to know it. Yeah.
So I would look up, like what, because I wanted to know, because there was a webmaster in the company, and I wanted to know, like, well, I just wanted to make my own page. Like, what do I do? And so
Josie.com.
I was josie.netpci.com.
What was your first email address? What was your first email
Net,
address?
net PCI.
Josie@netpci.com.
What was your first email address?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Come on.
Soul Skater 87.
Yep. At what? At what though? At what? Soul Skater 87. At what? What was the domain? What was your domain? Lycos?
Hotmail.
Oh, Hotmail. You know what mine was? I still own it to this day. I signed up for it in 1995. It's I'm just gonna give my personal email out, and I will tell you this
Is it
because
Rocket Mail?
no, because it comes with a crazy just ass learning curve. But it's BBW, my initials 815 at AOL.com.
AOL.com.
Nice.
I still have it. That's my homepage. That's what I check. It's my
Cool.
email. But I grew up with a single mom as well, and so like she would just go, she would work, and she would just go away, like to work and go to school and all that. And so she would leave us at home. Well, the internet was there, and she never put any kind of like parental guidance or any kind of like, or not guidance, locks, I guess, not parental locks on the computer. And so I would just be like in the Wild West with those chat rooms. And I mean, with the initials BBW, which, you know, I always reference porn when I'm on the podcast, so I might as well do it again. So, you know, so people were like,
so what is BBW?
Is it
big beautiful women, big
beautiful
women,
women.
Big breasted
women, big black women, just whatever, just big, just in general, big women. Which, you know, fine, but like I would, but not fine if you're 12 and you get dick pics from, you know, a bunch of creepers on the internet in 1996.
And they're like ASL, right?
Oh yeah, ASL, sexual education, baby. Want a cyber? I'm like, no.
You've never entered a chat room, huh? Okay,
no.
as a little delinquent, using the internet.
Oh no, I did. This was back in the time when I was learning how to do stuff, because we had I think it was CompuServe at the time.
Yeah.
Like CompuServe and using Netscape Navigator.
Right.
Yeah, but there was
Netscape.
but there was a chat room, but nothing like that.
Oh my gosh, chat rooms.
AOL was insane.
Chat
AOL
rooms
3.5,
crazy.
AOL
man.
3.5
Crazy. Back then
was crazy. You could just go into anything.
Because you think about it like this. This is the first time in ever that the world is connecting with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're literally talking to somebody in Europe at 3 a.m.
and they're sending you news.
and it takes
giant pictures
and it's
of genitalia, and you're 12.
And it takes 10 minutes for it to download. Yeah, and
you're thinking it's gonna be something completely different.
Right.
It's not.
And it's kind of like the weird black background with the different color chat names and stuff, and it's like moving really quickly. Oh my gosh, the days of the early internet and your experience of the early internet. I'm not trying to like date each other, but it's your experience of the internet had to be completely different from how we used it, because the way we used it was extremely juvenile.
It was not for work at all,
No.
because it was like that's what we did when our parents.
It's like,
went
oh,
to
what
work.
is this? Click, click.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of there weren't a lot of websites like as we know them today, right? Everything was like centered.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fancy if it had a drop shadow on it.
But let me ask you this, because I know that you travel a lot, and you were a young adult, I mean, like, it's not that, like you were a young adult when the internet came out, so like, did that shape, like being connected, in your late teens or whatever, however old you were when it came out, did that like kind of make you want to go out there and find out more, or?
At the time,
whereas before that you had to like check an encyclopedia,
right.
You know what I mean, or go research it, at the library or whatever.
Right. So it was so early on in the internet that not at that time. What shaped one of the first trips that I ever took was in 1998, and I had traveled before that, but it was usually to go to the States to see family, or there were places that I already knew. But the first trip that I ever took to some place completely foreign and different to me was to Bali, and that was in 1998, and it was because a coworker invited me, and she was at least 10 or 12 years older than I was, and she was extremely well traveled. She had been everywhere. So during that time, Continental Airlines still flew direct to Bali.
Mm-hmm.
So I went, and it was cool. I wasn't, I was just like, this is really neat. It's so different and everything. But the one thing that stuck with me during that trip was there was a dinner she had signed us up for. And it was a very small dinner. It was like 12 people. And it was hosted by a Balinese family in their home. And the head of the family, the father and the husband, he sat at the head of the table. And the 12 of us guests were there. And his family served us a traditional Balinese meal. And every time
what does that consist of exactly?
I don't even remember.
But I guess the staples,
I know there was rice, wine.
Is it like beans, or is it more rice and chicken?
I remember a lot of
curry
chicken,
or something.
Fresh. Like if you've been, it's similar to Southeast Asian cuisine. Like if you've been to Cambodia or Vietnam or even Thailand.
Okay.
To me, there are a lot of similarities between the cuisine. Some of them are spicier than others, or they use different herbs and things like that. But in general, the ingredients,
just fresh herbs, fresh curries,
right.
Very refreshing taste.
So it was at that dinner. It was 12 of us, and this family's hosting, and they're serving us in their home, and he's explaining each course, and then he's talking to us, and it was like 12 strangers. I mean, the only other person I knew was my coworker who I was traveling with. But next to me, there was a young woman, the same age as I was, and she was a Swiss girl. And so you're sitting at a table with people, you just naturally start talking to each other. So I asked her what she was, where she was from and what she was doing. And it turned out she was on the last leg of her solo trip around the world. She had been traveling around the world on her own for 2 years.
2 years.
And that blew my mind because I was like early 20s at the time.
Right.
I had never heard of anyone doing that.
And making money and being able to sustain, right? For
I don't think she
however
was
long.
even making money.
And
I
think back then when you were nomadic, you were actually like nomadic. You probably had to pick up odd jobs at some restaurant,
deliver pizzas for a couple months.
You couldn't be an Instagram influencer.
Yeah, right.
Garner so many followers, and get a deal.
And it just it really, I guess you could say it blew my mind because I never imagined that kind of life. I was born, not born here, but I was raised here. It's very small. We stick together. We don't, at the time, we don't really venture out.
And
very
even if
far.
you do, like, where are you going to go? You're really only going to go where you know somebody, right? I mean, that's what most people's tendencies.
But I didn't know anyone locally, in my family or anyone that had traveled anywhere like really exotic like that.
Because it was the cookie cutter kind of platform for everybody, huh?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, it's like graduate from high school, then go to college or get a full-time job.
Right.
Pop a couple kids out and just live the life, right?
Yeah. So when I went on that trip, that just really stuck with me, and it changed the way that I saw.
I bet.
Like I wanted to go and see things. I thought at one time I thought, okay, I'm gonna totally do that. I'm just gonna save up all my money, and I'm gonna go and travel around the world. But it's things got in the way, and I didn't prioritize that. And now that I'm older, that life does not appeal to me as much anymore. I still do travel, and I do love it, but I love to come home. I do love to come home.
Yeah, when I went to Hong Kong in 2012, I was in Hong Kong, and we stayed at International Hostel, and we met a Canadian girl who started her trip in Russia. She flew from Canada to Moscow, and she took a train from Moscow all the way to Beijing.
Wow.
Okay.
And it was about 3 weeks,
Moscow,
3 months, 3 months or
Is that
something.
what do they call that? The Orient Express?
The Orient Express.
Right?
Murder.
That's what they
That
call
was
it.
the whole movie. Murder on the Orient Express.
No, the Trans-Siberia Railroad. Is that what it's
The
called?
Trans-Siberian Orchestra. No, I know what you mean.
Talking about, right?
Yeah, no, but I don't know. It's one of the two, right? It's one of the two.
Orchestra is actually a real thing, isn't it?
No, it is, but also is the Trans-Siberian Express, also, or the Trans-Siberian Line. Yeah,
Brian,
they're
Brian,
both.
like
Brian,
that.
Yes, Brian,
Yes,
Brian, pull this up. Trans-Siberian Orchestra Express.
Once and for all. Once and for all. So so it goes from Moscow. I guess we'll figure out the track. Just give us a route. Just type out a route or something like that. And so she ended up in Beijing, flew to Hong Kong, and then she was spending a week in Hong Kong. And this girl didn't look like she had much on her. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's why I brought up like taking odd jobs, because that's what she would do at her stop. She'd like get off somewhere and then just be like, hey, you need some help? Can I help you here? Make some money and then move on.
I've met a lot of people who do that.
Legit
like
nomads.
on my travels. Yeah, like I've been to all of the Federated States of Micronesia, and then I think it was Kosrae that there was a sailboat, and our boat was going out to catch the sunset, and we stopped to pick up the two people that were on the sailboat. And it turned out that they were Canadians, and they were sailing around the world.
Those
and they
damn
would
Canadians love to travel along.
So they would stop. They would stop at different places so that they could like refuel. I mean, not refuel, but replenish supplies and things like that. And then while they were there, they would pick up odd jobs. Like they both happened to be teachers, so they would teach a few months, and and then earn money, and then
that's always good. It seems like if you're a teacher, you can just travel. Because I met a couple
and just
like
teach
male
English or
teachers
something like
in
that.
Philippines. The first time I ever went there, you know, and like and then I just met them at a club, you know, out, and they were like, oh yeah, we teach down south, but you know, we just came up here for the weekends, and I think I went in the summer, so you know, they're like, oh yeah, you know, like we're just, you know, we got the summers off, so we're just kind of hanging out.
The couple I always talk about on this show, they are marketers and they work on New York time, digital marketers, and they work on New York time, and they started a company called the Robe Lives, and they make robes in Zimbabwe.
Is it?
It's Trans-Siberian Railway.
Trans-Siberian Railway.
Trans-Siberian Railway. I'll get back to my story there.
Yeah.
So it looks like it starts in London. And
It does everything. Amsterdam, Paris, Berlin. But is that Versailles?
Oh no, you can take a train straight down to Hong Kong, connecting train routes.
So you're telling we can fly to Hong Kong and get on the Trans-Siberian Railway?
Yeah, you would have to go to Hong Kong, then take.
Bangkok too.
This shit looks like it goes like. That's like
it's
an
all
8 hour,
over the
9 hour,
place.
12-hour train ride at least.
It's definitely a sleeping
Days.
train.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. This is all Russia. Is there one that? Let's see if there's one that goes down. No, go up. See if there's a route that goes from Moscow to Beijing, but through Eurasia here.
No, I think that's it.
No, that's
you
the
have
one?
To, yeah, it's.
Oh, you
pretty
mean
much
where
one.
MH370 disappeared? Yeah.
So
But yeah,
that's,
all
that's
that
possibly
entire
the
area.
only one, huh?
So
Okay.
you the girl you met went from.
Yeah, she went from Moscow.
To Beijing,
Well, there you go.
Okay,
and then she
right
took
there,
a,
yeah.
and then she was like, "Fuck this! I'm taking a plane."
Where'd she go? To Hong Kong?
yeah.
Where'd she end up after that?
Back to Canada, apparently.
From Hong Kong to Canada?
Yeah.
Straight shot?
Yeah.
Probably
yeah.
right to like Vancouver or something.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So
It's pretty
loose.
cool though when
It's
you
okay.
meet people
You can
who
just
Still
are
hear me,
fuck
right?
it. Yeah.
who are fearless like that can just.
Yeah,
be
and we were like, "You're by
absolutely-
yourself?" She's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, you know."
It's really admirable.
Yeah.
It really is. Like I met a guy.
Definitely
I
a lot
was
of
in
mental
Jordan.
toughness.
I was in Jordan last year and met a guy who was waiting on us in a restaurant, and he was a Spaniard, and his name was Javier, and everybody loved him.
What was it again?
Javier.
That's the most.
Javier.
Couldn't get more Spanish than that.
She
Love-
stopped down for that.
Yeah.
For those who aren't watching, she
His-
was like,
His name was Javier.
His name was
Yeah.
Javier.
Ice flutter.
that reminds me of that. Yeah, that reminds me of that scene in 40-Year-Old Virgin where Jane Lynch starts singing about her first love to Steve Carell in Spanish, and then she's like, anyway,
No, he
let's
was
move on.
nice guy.
He came
Great
up
service.
doing the flamenco.
No, but he was serving. He was a waiter in
Right.
this like Jordanian restaurant that we were eating in, and it was in the lobby of a hotel that we were staying in. And when we were, as if the next few days, you just see him there every day working, and he speaks English, Spanish, and was learning Arabic. And so I asked him like, how did you end up here? And he goes, I work places and then I move on to the next place. So he had gone from Spain all throughout Europe and then made his way to the Middle East. And right now he was in Jordan, but he was thinking about moving because his visa was going to expire. So he had to leave.
Sheesh. Yeah, it's so crazy how people can just do that. I don't know if is it a decision that you just make? Do you have to come from from money, or does it not require money to do so?
I think-
like,
I
what
don't
is
think
the
money.
starting point,
I don't
right?
think money.
I
is
think
the
I
thing.
think somewhere along the way, like for me, because I've lived here. I'm not from here. I've lived here for almost 10 years, 9 years actually, not even almost 9 years, and and even before that, I left. After I was able to, after like I guess 18, whenever you can, and I think it's just something along the lines, like with her, it was like she said, just she met somebody.
Right.
With me, it was the environment that I was around. And I'm like, oh, don't nobody want to do anything or go anywhere, so. Like why, so I started looking into the opposite and just, I kind of human nature kind of following, that whole like, oh, if y'all going to do this, I'm just going to do this just to be different.
Right.
And, and then it just ended up being more of a lifestyle. You know what I mean?
I think so, and I think people's level of curiosity varies. Some people are just curious about the world, and they don't have the fear or
Of that.
or preconceived notions.
Like they're gonna get stabbed in the back alley of Paris.
But they got different fears. Like for me, I won't touch a snake. I don't care even if it is a brown tree snake. You know what? But my neighbor will, and he'll come over and he'll just grab it by the head and sling it around, you know, whatever, and play with it and all this. But like he won't get on a plane and go anywhere else because that scares him. You know what I mean? Right. But like to me, I've lived here for 10 years. I'm not even, you know, I didn't know anybody anything, and before I even stepped foot on here. So you know, it's just very. People just, I think, are just wired, I think, differently and have different fears and different.
When you came here, were you planning on
3
going?
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah, 3 years. That was
9 years later.
That was.
That's
I moved
9
here.
years and one baby later.
I moved here. I moved here May. Yes, I moved here May.
Guam will do that to you.
Yeah. How will it ever?
Yeah.
May.
Careful, statesider.
Yeah. Shout out to the Catholics. May 22nd, 2009.
Why are you laughing over there, B?
That one got Brian. Like Brian was kicked back to the.
Why are you flicking me up? I'm just asking you. You looked at me. I was asking why you looking at me like that.
You know, but yeah. So I moved here May 22nd, 2009, a month before Michael Jackson died. And
tragic.
Breaking news.
Right. Spoiler.
You know, his dad just died. Joe Jackson.
Yes, Joe Jackson just died yesterday, right?
Yeah, and you know what this first of all, yeah, and sorry, I'm really into, you know, random things when I come here. Right now because I'm, you know, the radio show, I've been looking at a lot of celebrity news lately. Paris Jackson wanted to reach out talking about shout out to one of the most iconic patriarchs of all time. And I'm like, you mean like
the daddy of a patriarch?
Joe Jackson. Talking about Joe Jackson, like, you know, Michael Jackson, I think turned out the way he did because of the treatment that he endured from Joe Jackson. You know, like the brothers and like that family's not okay, and I think that all stems from Joe Jackson. So I don't know if he's the best.
Yeah, he was a problem.
If he's an iconic patriarch.
Well, to her, he is.
I guess, but
she's his granddaughter.
Okay,
and she had a different experience.
Did she?
And she has a different perspective.
Were you there?
Because you know,
or I do.
Because you know, also, I know this also from my random studies abroad on the internet.
My studies abroad.
That the Jackson family has not spoken to her in like 4 years, 5 years. They actually.
Yeah, I freak out that she's an actual adult now.
Well, they shunned Paris Jackson, and then she even says nice things about him. And so I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I like Michael.
It's just crazy how she's a Presley too. Like she's a direct line from
who?
Wasn't Michael Jackson?
There's all kinds of confusion.
But they didn't have any kids together.
So who's their kids with?
Debbie
the nurse, right?
Yeah, the nurse. Yeah, Debbie the nurse.
Get out of here! I know my pop culture.
Come on, man. That's right around the same time as the OJ trial.
Paris Jackson for 500.
Brian, pull this up. Pull up Michael Jackson, baby mama.
Debbie something. I think she's only the mom of 2 of the kids, right? The 2 older ones.
Paris and Prince.
Paris, Prince, and Blanket.
And Blanket too?
Blanket.
No, Debbie Rowe.
Debbie Rowe. Wow. Yeah, Debbie Rowe. R-O-W-E.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's any relation
like
to Mike.
Rowe. Dirty Jobs.
Debbie Rowe. Right?
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah. It's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe.
Oh my gosh.
Good one. I always thought that somebody should do that here in Guam.
Right.
So hey,
because they'll be finding out all kinds of regulations. They'll be like,
but not
EPA will be on their ass.
We talked about this because we talked about this.
Not just Dirty
Department
Jobs.
of Health.
I always thought it'd be a great segment to do something like Dirty Jobs, but not technically Dirty Jobs, but stuff that is unique. Like, who's the guy who cleans up at the cockfight or sets up at the cockfight? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to know what that guy's life is like.
Right.
What his job is.
Or the pig man who comes to the elementary school and gets all the food trash.
There's all kinds of stuff that is unique.
Food waste, yeah. There's one for every school. Believe it or not, there's a lot of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Like I worked at. So I was a lunch lady. We talked about that.
Right.
You were a lunch lady?
I was here on this island.
Where?
You have to wear a hairnet and everything.
Yes, because I had long hair. So JFK, LBJ.
When you first got here?
No, I left. This is after my first stint on the radio. So I went on the radio for a while. Then I stopped that and I bartended for a while.
Debbie Rowe, I told you.
It was Debbie Rowe. But they're all the same. Whoa, look at Blanket in the middle.
Is that a boy or girl?
That's a girl. I mean, that's a boy.
No, see, I was right. Only Paris and Prince are Debbie Rowe's kids. Blanket is from a surrogate mother whose identity was kept secret.
Artificial insemination also. That means.
Is that Kathy Bates at the bottom? No.
I think that's her.
Wow, interesting.
Is that Kathy Bates?
No, I think that's Debbie Rowe.
That's Debbie Rowe?
I think so.
No way.
Right?
She was a blonde lady. I mean, I know she's gotten older, but she hadn't got that old.
I don't know. Just go back and just go to Google Images, dude.
Yeah, we need to see a picture.
And Debbie Rowe, Google it. Ooh. Do you remember that picture? The second one? You see that one right there? No, just, yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Right there, bro.
Yeah, that one. Just
Oh, that is her.
That's her.
look at Paris. Oh.
Michael. Great choice.
Man. Yeah, that doesn't hold up.
I don't know about that, man.
Anyway, for all the audio listeners,
only-
sorry.
Oh,
Yeah. No. They were looking at it.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Oh no, yeah, audio listeners.
For everybody listening to this, we're really sorry about that.
Fucking
just Google Debbie Rowe.
Fucking Debbie Rowe.
Yeah, she did not age well,
So wait, you did radio and then you left?
and then I left.
And then you were a lunch lady?
No. Then I left and I bartended. Shout out to the venue in Mac and Marty's
You were a bartender at venue. Okay.
and Mac and Marty's. Yeah,
Okay.
both. And then
What year was this?
this was 2000. This was actually I quit doing radio the first time on Christmas Eve 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2010. And then I started bartending right after that because I bartended at Chili's because
Were you a good bartender?
I was a really good bartender.
Were you considered a mixologist?
Not so much. I didn't even do the flair.
You
know what I
didn't?
mean? I was a drink. I was
beer and whiskey kind of bartender?
Yeah, I'm the alcoholics
I'll pour you some
bartender.
shots.
You know what I mean?
I can do on the rocks.
Yeah.
Like,
And I
did
will
you-
tell you this:
Did you ever have to make a mojito?
They tried, and I'm like, yeah, I don't have it. They're like,
So he wasn't a very good bartender.
Okay.
no. Wow.
You were,
I was just kidding.
you were a drink giver.
Listen, my Latin heritage,
Beer and whiskey and
my Latin
shots.
heritage will not let me disgrace a mojito without pure sugar cane, pure mint, and then I have to muddle it together.
from the backyards of Mexico.
Yes. Yeah. So bartended, and then after that, I wanted a daytime schedule, and benefits. So I went and applied for Sodexo. So I worked for Sodexo, and I became a supervisor of lunch ladies, and also worked as a lunch lady serving food on the line. So I used to have to wear a hat, apron, the whole deal, wash trays, all that whole thing, wipe tables and all that, and serve lunch at Emu Lujan Elementary down in Tonya, LBJ, the Little Angels over in Tamuning, then JFK, which is where I started, but they had to take me out because I was, quote, garnering too much attention from the student body.
Hey.
From the female student.
I had everybody hitting on me. I had dudes, chicks,
You were like
kitchen
Javier.
staff,
They're in class like,
school aides.
fuck. You see the fucking lunch lady?
Yeah. School aides.
I can't
Eric,
get
you
the
see the
song.
lunch lady?
Well, the
The Adam Sandler lunch lady land
Oh, I love it,
song
yeah.
out of my head now.
Yeah, I love that
Totally
song.
thinking of the
I
Adam
love that
Sandler
song.
song.
But
Can we hear a snippet of it?
Yes,
Is that
please.
allowed? Is that allowed?
I don't know. They're gonna pull you from YouTube. You
I
put this
don't
on
know.
YouTube?
Yeah, I do. They probably will pull.
They'll
me
pull
from
us.
it.
They'll pull us if
Especially
you-
as music, right?
Yeah, because they want you to go.
It's better. Yeah.
What is it called? The critical.
You know what though? Your live viewers can see it. You just have to edit it out for the
Right for the video.
audio field. Yeah, audio feed. But
We don't
yeah.
have time for that.
But I used to show up in Dickies, Pumas, looking fresh. So maybe I added some fuel to the fire.
Right.
To garner some attention. I didn't. I just showed up.
And so they sent you to an elementary school.
A little like pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade.
Like they come up to your knees, right?
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny? You know what? I don't work there anymore, so I can tell this story. I've never told this story before. So what's funny is, I had this lady who worked at LBJ. It's a very small kitchen. It's a very small. You only do maybe God, I don't want to get into lunch lady speak, but you only do maybe like 110 lunches a day. You know what I mean? For lunch, maybe 75 for breakfast. You know, it's about average, right? Yeah. So it takes like 2 people. You know, it takes the smallest pan of food. And so one day, my coworker, my main coworker, her name was Rena. She was from the Philippines, so she was taking vacation. So she went back home to the Philippines, and they sent this other dude. Name and ethnicity withheld. They just sent this other dude to work for me, and I showed up, you know, first thing in the morning, like 6 a.m. And I opened the door, and dude's already in there, right? Lights are on, but he's passed out on the table, on top of the table.
Oh no!
Passed out. Bud Light cans everywhere. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I've got no idea. I just had to wake him up. And I said to wake him up and basically prop him up next to next to the line at lunch, and then just serve the whole thing myself. I never told on him, never did anything. I was just like, God, I just took him home after the shift. Yeah, you're crazy.
You're a good man.
No, I'm not, because he was around. He was drunk as shit around kids.
You didn't tell us his name, last name, full name. No, you don't have to.
His name was Richie Valens.
His name was Javier.
It's actually
Javier.
Oh, but actually his name was Hanley.
Oh my god!
But I don't know his last name.
Okay, where did we come from? We started talking about lunch lady. We were talking about something else. Oh gosh! You took us on a wild ride with the lunch lady.
Yeah, we lost it. Did you remember? No. I was just saying that I did that for a while, and I don't know where we went from there.
Fuck.
Yeah, I know. It happens.
It happens.
Oh, we were talking about like different jobs that we've had. So my first start was in the internet business.
Right.
Yeah. And then around that time, when I learned how to code.
How long did it take you?
Not long. I mean.
Yeah, it's simple,
HTML,
right?
Close HTML bracket.
Were you on Angel Fire?
No.
On GeoCities?
No. But did you ever like progress your knowledge on it as the internet aged?
I started my own blog. And then when I felt like I knew enough, I was comfortable with it and I was happy with it. And then I started learning how to use Adobe Photoshop. And then that led to me telling the president of that internet company, like, you know, I could do these ads for you. I know how to use Photoshop. I could totally do these ads for you. So then he moved me into marketing and I started building ads. And that's how I got into graphic design. And then that company got sold out to the company that eventually, Quentos. It became Quentos. I think it was like absorbed by Quentos. And so around that time, by then I knew enough of Photoshop and a little bit of Illustrator where I was able to get hired as a production artist by John Muffness and his team at By Design. It was an ad agency.
Okay.
So from there, I was a graphic designer for a while and then moved to another agency. And that's around that time when digital cameras started becoming really affordable and the little point and shoot one. So I bought right. the best digital camera that I could buy with a couple $100.
Wait, what years are these?
06.
This is like, yeah. Oh, no.
04?
It was actually before that. Yeah.
304.
304.
Yeah. I got my first digital camera.
04.
I got my first digital camera and it was a piece of shit, but it was cool at the time.
No,
4 megapixels.
But it was like 04, 05. But like, hey, you know what? It was digital. It didn't matter. Because like nobody else had a digital camera.
Right.
Like,
and around that time, a really good friend of mine, he has passed, but he was one of Guam's renowned photographers, Roel Santiago.
Right, it was just recently, right?
No,
last couple years.
It's been a while. It's been maybe 5-6 years, maybe longer than that.
Okay.
And he and I would go hiking and stuff like that, and so I would take pictures on my little Nikon Coolpix 2000.
The Ashton Kutcher camera, the one that had the face wrecking first.
No, it wasn't even that fancy.
The first one.
It was like way basic. Coolpix. It was so basic.
Was that the first slim one?
No, it was like even before that. Before the Ashton Kutcher,
like marketing ploy to sell everybody Nikons.
But Roel told me. So Roel would look at my pictures and he would say, "Oh, I see what you're trying to do here. Next time, try this or that." So he's shooting with his super badass Nikon that you could, do anything with.
Right.
And he told me something that always stayed with me, and that was that it's good to start with something that's really basic, because then you're going to learn everything that there is to know about that camera. You're going to know that thing in and out, what its limitations are, what it can do. You're not going to rely on that camera to take a good photo for you. You're going to be the one working that camera and taking a good photo.
For sure. I think that goes for a lot of things.
Exactly.
It's like all encompassing. If you're going to start something and just buy the Gusto, go for the Gusto and drop 5,000.
You know what made my heart drop? Just real quick. So I was in New York, the first and only time I've ever been in New York City, and I was like, man, I got to go to Guitar Center, right? And I couldn't afford, and I went into like the super secret acoustic room, the one over there where like Dave Matthews guitars in the case and all that, like the acoustic
I've never
room.
been to the
But they all have them. You know what I mean? Like every Guitar Center has the expensive room.
Yeah, I know the Guitar Center in Hollywood has like that whole wall of like $20,000 guitars.
Right. Yeah, and like and they'll let you play them. So like you can play a $2,000 Gibson acoustic. You just pull it off the wall. There's nobody in there. You just pull it off the wall because play whatever guitar you want. And so I walked in there. The only time I went to New York, and there was this very rich looking lady, and she was like, oh, that's a really nice that sounds really good. She goes, oh, my boyfriend just learned how to play guitar, so I'm thinking about buying him one of these. And she's looking at like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 guitars, and this dude she didn't even know if he's gonna play, because guitar is not one of those things you just I can play, so I'm just always gonna play. And I'm just like, oh, so it's like giving a 15-year-old a Ferrari. You know what I mean? It's like, here you go.
I'm hoping he picks it up. Yeah, I'm just gonna grab him this.
Yeah. But it's the same kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. You just splurge when you don't. Yeah.
Yeah. So I learned.
You learned how to.
I learned how to take pictures through that camera, and under his guidance, I was very lucky because everything that I ever wanted to do, I had a good mentor. Whether it was design, it was web design, and then graphic design, and in the creative field, I always had a great mentor, and. I didn't go to school. I didn't go to design school or photography school, but then ended up having a career in graphic design and photography and became an art director for in-house creative. And I think that's one of the things that makes Guam special, in that if you have the drive and the determination to want to do something, to break into a field that you have absolutely no training in, if you have the drive and you have the, what's it called? The
determination.
No,
the incentive. What is it? The incentive, right? Taking the incentive. Initiative.
There you go. Good job. Initiative.
We're smart together.
Way to work together, guys. Way to work together.
People will hire you. They know. Some people, they just know, this guy's going to work hard. He's going to start at the bottom, or in my case, she's going to start off, at the bottom. But I would spend days at work and then all night long on the computer learning new things, learning the craft, because I didn't go to art school. I didn't have the money to go to art school. And
did you ever go?
No.
Oh,
trial by fire kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank God to the internet then, huh?
Absolutely. And also the mentorship. So I always had friends who were generous.
So you got your degree in the you got the street cred, right?
That's right.
And luck. I mean, everybody needs a little bit of luck. You know what I mean? And it was lucky that you were able to come up with some, with some
I got my
who were willing
degree
to
from
teach,
the streets.
But I have
Streets
been lucky.
of Agana.
Yeah. I have been lucky because everything that I ever wanted to do, from web design, then it branched off into graphic design, then photography, and then even the writing. Everything that I ever wanted to do, somehow it started off as a hobby and something for fun that I would just immerse myself in and try to learn as much as I could, and then it became a job.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I would have had the same opportunities had I lived somewhere else because of the competition.
Were there any moments where you felt like you weren't worth it? Or that
you
doubted yourself?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So you met somebody who came from an art school and they threatened your job or your livelihood.
Right. That is one of the issues or the things that you're going to have to deal with if you are not trained.
For sure.
Yeah. You're going to always have to deal with that insecurity that I'm maybe not as good as this person who went to the Academy of Art Institute. so you're going to have to compete with that. And we are our worst critics, so we're always a little bit like, I don't know if this is good enough or whatever. But I don't know. It never deterred me or stopped me from going after what I wanted to do or learning what I wanted to. It's not even like a thing I was like, it wasn't like I set out like, I want to be a photographer, I want to be a graphic designer. It was more like,
sort of like doing what
I'm
you
gonna
do
learn, I'm gonna have fun with it. I started a blog, Latitude 13, in 2002, and that opened so many doors. I couldn't have imagined at the time, because it was a combination of things. It was the writing, it was the design aspect of it, because it was my website, and that opened the door as far as people in, like companies or people saying, hey, we're looking for an artist, we have an opening, why don't you come in and we'll talk, kind of thing.
And that's how I first knew of Joe. I mean, like, it's the same thing like how I met you. You know what I mean? I just knew of her as Latitude 13, and I really wanted to do.
I think on Twitter, that's all I know her.
Right? Yeah. And I really wanted to do a podcast. I think this was even right before you started. And so I reached out to her, and I did the same thing, kind of. Yeah, and we met. We went the very first time I ever met Josie. I was because we were Facebook messaging each other back and forth. And we met at Caves, right? Mm-hmm. At Caves Bar. This was 2013.
This was before you had a baby.
Way before, yeah.
I think you had just.
He had just finished becoming a lunch lady.
Yeah,
I might have.
We met for drinks, and it was great because I had not met him before, and to be honest, I don't really listen to the radio a whole lot. I don't have a radio in my home, and
or
I
TV.
listen to it in the car. But so I didn't really know the radio, the radio pig.
I don't listen to it either.
Yeah.
When did you get on the radio, first of all?
Ever?
Yeah. I can't. I'm
2006.
Okay, no, but
in Texas.
Here on Guam.
No, like a month after I moved here.
Okay.
June 2009. I got on overnight weekends with Power 98 very early on.
That's what I thought.
Phil LG, who's on K57. I met him very early on. He was hitting on me, and I'm saying that publicly, out loud. He was hitting on me. He's one of my best friends, so I can say that to him. He thought he could get me.
Yeah.
But we just, the rest is history. But yeah, he once we became friends, he asked me what I did, and I told him that I went to broadcast school, and I'd already been on the radio in the States.
Right,
Well, let me introduce you to Kai, because he had actually just moved over to Senator Ray Tenorio's office. From doing radio, K57 radio news.
Right.
Phil worked for Senator Ray Tenorio?
That's how he got into Adeloop.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. He was in Adeloop for a while. He worked under Troy and Natalie Kanata, and Artie Gibson was there, and Jana, and
wow.
They were all in the communications office at the same time together. Right at the transition, because some of them came from Eddie.
So it's got to be like 2009.
Right. Some of them came from the governor's senator office, because when he first made it, he was a senator, and then, right? Or no, he was just running, right?
Who?
Ray? Eddie? Yeah.
No, he's been a senator.
But was he a senator? Did he go from senator to governor? Or was
Yes.
he? Okay. So then some of them worked in his office, as his senator office.
Okay.
And then some of them worked in Ray's senator office,
Okay.
and then so that when they both made it, they just combined, and it made... the communication department that rode, I think, for most of the first administration was there.
Right.
But anyway, so
we were talking about how you guys met.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
but
we had
So I started then, 2009. Yeah.
Okay.
So we met for drinks because Blake he wanted to start a podcast. And then I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. I didn't know anything about podcasts at the time. I wasn't listening to any podcasts.
2013, right? I mean, this is 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't super long ago. And then you moved, right?
Did I?
Yeah, I think you went out to New York.
No, I didn't move there. I just went there.
Yeah, you left.
Yeah.
And
I moved my body there for 2 months.
And then the next time I saw you was at a beer festival.
Uh-huh.
And then you were back, and then you were like, "Yeah, I'm back," and then it was like,
and that was it.
That was it.
That was it. Yeah, that was it. I saw her at a beer festival, and then I think just here and there randomly at random
I
events.
saw you in Payless. I think you're
Payless. Yeah, and then Payless. But yeah. So that's kind of the same way. I like to creep on in people's inboxes.
Well, I mean, I think you have a knack for noticing people who are doing something, I guess.
Well, and like she said, I really want to do a podcast then. That was right before you started yours. You've since started yours.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's great. It's become something I mean, dude, this is... talked about it off air. It's crazy. You know what I mean? From the first time, I wasn't even on... I haven't even been coming here a year yet.
No, not yet.
And it's
October will be a year.
Yeah, it'll be a full year. But it's just crazy how much different the first episode was than from this episode.
Yeah, literally, it was...
I just got bottle service sitting here.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matt. I mean, I didn't want to get up, you know, because I didn't know. But yeah, I was just like, sorry, Matt. Top me off a little bit.
Yeah, it was literally this microphone on those stands.
It was me and you and your dog.
And the dog and this and the handheld recorder over there.
Yeah.
And
right.
And we did not go live.
We didn't.
No.
And it was just kind of like, what's up, Blake? I'm Boo. You want to sit down and talk for the next 3 hours? Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to go an hour. But
no,
dude,
3 hours.
Yeah,
I told her that
3 hours. That's like a Joe Rogan podcast.
So
like
when
3 hours.
Well, that's
yeah. It
so,
was even like even when I met Ray Chargaloff for the first time, it was the same way. I've noticed that as soon as people walk through the door, I can kind of tell like how the conversation's possibly gonna go and how long it's gonna go, just because. That's just what the way people present themselves through the door as they step in. They're like, oh shit. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Yeah. I was like, okay, this would be a good podcast then.
Yeah, it's always about the vibe. You know, we talked about that before. I think it was just and the thing is like, because when I first messaged Josie about coming on, I was I go, well, I did 3 hours the first time. She was like, I don't think I can do 3 hours.
I said, I don't think I can be interesting.
And I told her, I go, you'd be surprised. I go, you'd be surprised.
Really long.
Yeah, and especially
actually, the first thing I asked him when he asked me if I would like to come on the podcast with him was like, what are we going to talk about?
That was completely impulsive, by the way. I just want to let you both know. There was no rhyme or reason for me saying that. I was just like, you know what?
I don't know him very well.
No.
Yeah,
so
he even messaged me. He's like, hey, can I bring someone on? I was like, yeah, by all means.
Yeah,
he's like,
so
all
I
right,
didn't know
Josie Moyer. I was like, oh shit, I follow her on Twitter. Sure, why not?
Yeah, so I didn't know if there was like a theme for the show, or like should I like read up on current events or what?
I just wanted to hang out with you, Josie.
Bring up something on me.
A reason to hang out.
That's why I think she didn't mind that we kept postponing it, because it was supposed to have happened on Tuesday. I'm like,
man,
hey.
I thought you guys were like in cahoots, like, hey,
No.
girl,
No.
it's not happening tonight. I'll see you tonight, though.
No, it just all the stars lined up. You know what I mean? Like first it was you. You know what I mean? And then it was me, and so yeah, it
and I just thought it was amazing that when Blake Ash said you want to can I bring someone on?
Because I could have gone anyway. Because I've mentioned several people. I mentioned even I mentioned Aaron, Aaron Tamayo, and even talking to him.
I love him.
Yeah, and so do I, and I see him every day, and and I've even mentioned like, dude, would you ever want to go on? Like if I could swing it, and he was like,
convince him.
Look, maybe if I could talk to him. Like,
yeah. I'll put in a good word for you.
I'll let you know if you're cool, bro.
Can you just send me a short bio, one paragraph?
But so I mentioned Kyle Uggan,
right.
the fighter, but when I immediately thought of it, and it's because of the
why though? Why Joe?
Because it's how we met. It's because when I first wanted to do a podcast, I didn't think I could do it alone, so I wanted a co-host, and I really wanted it to be Josie, and that was just sheerly,
what was your premise?
It was sheerly based on social media presence.
Okay.
For her. Why did I want to do a podcast?
Yeah.
Because I listen to way too much Joe Rogan.
Okay.
Which is why I talk for 3 hours.
Right. But so you just wanted to have someone to, because when I started, it took me forever, like 10 months. Remember I was telling you, I had the gear, held my shit for 10 months. I was just like, no, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll just find the time to, just record. I'll find somebody, and my friend finally pushed me. He was like, dude, what the fuck? Are you going to do this or what? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right. I was like, okay, let's record tomorrow. And so our first recording was at the beach.
And then you show, and you just recently shared on your Instagram, right?
Yeah, episode 3.
Yeah, the third one where y'all moved in out of the rain.
Yeah, we were in the backyard under
Heineken with cases of Heineken.
Yeah,
y'all had cases of Heineken.
Yeah, we were in the backyard
much longer
of
hair.
my friend's house, and just literally, just us on a plastic table with some mics, and definitely not sitting in a place, and. That's what my whole thing was. Like, okay, I guess I got to do this on location. Like, okay, can we find a restaurant or somewhere quiet or anything like that? And dude, I think the weirdest thing podcast I've done was
the fashion show.
No, it was with Steve Lefevre at a Japanese cafe in Japan.
Oh, was it an iPhone recording?
No, it was we were holding these microphones like this.
Really?
Yeah, we were like yeah. And there was like Japanese people like
shout out to Steve Lefevre
taking pictures of us and recording us and stuff. And then they're like, all right, if you don't buy a cappuccino, you have to leave, sir. You know.
So going back into the history, he was one of the very first dudes I ever met here. I met Steve Lefevre probably within the first 3 months of me moving here.
Okay.
And what's crazy, I just saw on Facebook. I guess I'm not breaking any kind of news, but I just saw on Facebook that he flew from Japan to I think Seattle, to announce to his family that he's expecting kid number 2. And he videoed the whole thing. Yeah, it's on his YouTube.
Yeah,
channel.
congratulations, Steve.
Yeah, congratulations, Steve. What's up, Steve Lefevre? Long time,
Steve Lefevre. Yeah, the first time I met Steve Lefevre was online.
No.
I messaged him. He was in Japan. I was like, hey, man, I do a podcast, but we do, like, internet style. So you interested in, like, jumping on? And it was like...
so you do approach people.
Yeah. I have, dude. Man.
Not all people. Okay. That's fine. It's fine.
You didn't give him a chance. You didn't even give him a chance.
I thought you were playing watching BBC News.
We try to play hard to get, like, Jesus.
Yeah. So it's and that's the way I met him. It was called Blab. It was a Twitter based conversational, like Google Hangouts or something like that. So it has 4 pictures, and then my friend in Hawaii used to help me with the podcast. He would jump on, and it'll be us 3, and it was us 3 just talking to each other.
Cool.
Yeah. And so the evolution of the podcast is insane.
Is this? Yeah. But you haven't recorded all week, right?
No.
So this is historical, right? It's a little. Is this 150?
This is 150. Yeah.
Is this a milestone?
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you,
Brian.
Congratulations.
Thank you. 150, Brian. Where's Matt?
Man. It's insane. It's insane.
It's very intimidating.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Oh, the setup?
Yeah.
This was all.
Yeah.
I mean, it was piece by piece. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's you buy something, you improve something, you upgrade something, and it's never gonna be perfect the first time around. And if someone I always bring this up. Sorry, I fucking always bring up all kinds of shit I say on the podcast, but Peter Kimbao has told me, dude, why are you waiting for it to be perfect? Put it out there, get feedback. So you know what you're changing. So you're not changing based off your own judgment or your own criticism of your own piece that you're putting out to the world. Let people give the feedback back to you. It's like, sure. And so ever since then, I just kind of fuck it. Just kind of put it out there. And if it sucks, it sucks. If people don't like it, I'm still going to keep on improving. And that's
that's the best you can do.
Right. But the only reation why I brought up the podcast in the first place, because you just started your own podcast. Yeah. And it was funny when you said, hey, I want to bring on Josie Moyer. I was like, cool. And then the next day, you're like, hey, I just dropped my first
really didn't even know
podcast.
that.
Well, because when you asked me, I was already in the process of recording, but I didn't want to make it seem like I was going to
like promoting it, or
right.
like trying to come on here and check out my podcast. What's up?
All right, you guys done finagled me, huh?
So I didn't say anything about it, and
I really didn't know till the next day.
Honestly,
I saw it on Twitter and I liked it.
I think it's absolutely fantastic because I've waited years for the community to grow. Years, literally years. Like, you put a tweet explaining to somebody older on how to listen to a podcast.
Ask your kid. Just ask your kid to show you.
Dude, that, believe it or not.
By the way, if you want to follow Josie, please do at Latitude 13.
Yeah.
She really is. She's my one of my favorite Guam Twitter followers
that's
ever.
the best explanation, I think. Because I can tell you, but
But honestly, that goes all the way down to the age of 20-5.
Right.
Nobody knows how to listen. Like, how do you listen? How do I listen to the podcast? Like, dude,
I don't know where to find it. Yeah.
you have an iPhone or an Android?
Yeah. Okay. Go download this app. Search this. Download that.
So it's been a work in progress, and to me, this is what's going on in my mind. It's like the more people that do their own podcast. Brian's working on his own podcast with Matt, and the more people that do their own podcasts, the more the community grows. We're all ships in the ocean, right? And the tide's just gonna rise for all of us. Yeah. Once more people start getting into that art, that audio art of being an audio creative, of letting people enjoy. Whether it be talk, whether it be informational.
You know who has a good podcast? Barnett.
Yeah.
Malfunction's got a good podcast.
Yeah, man.
You know, and he actually tackles like for real issues.
Contentious fucking issues.
Yeah, like he's man, I guess whatever. I don't give a shit. I'll say this shit. I don't care. I clown PNC in my head because I watched Malfunction did such a good job with the Chamorro Land Trust episode of his show where he went and grilled that dude,
right.
You know, and just made him look, you know, like just couldn't answer his own questions. You know what I'm saying? Not Malfunction, but the dude. You know what I mean? Just couldn't answer Chris's questions, and you know he ran himself in circles with his answers. And like, oh, so you're telling me that your relatives got first dibs and this and that. And then I watched PNC like 2 days later try and even like shake hands with that guy, the same guy, and he wouldn't even shake hands with whoever the anchor is over at PNC. And I'm just like, dude, you know, like. Chris Barnett got like 15 minutes with that guy. He won't even shake your hand. You know what I mean? But that's not to down Barnett because he's doing, you know, like he's doing really, really well at this new role. It's a
tough role to be like an investigative
but it's no surprise
journalist or reporter, right?
It is.
Especially
very difficult,
especially when you're in a microscopic place like Guam.
Absolutely.
But it's no surprise because the fact that he's almost like he reminds me a lot of kind of like a Jon Stewart or a Stephen Colbert. You know, he's very intelligent and like and the reason like half the time he made his name was was doing all those parodies of the government in the early aughts, you know, and coming up, you know, he found he found the humor that most people didn't see in it.
He changed radio basically.
Right. Yeah. And
he made people who looked godly in the legislature bring them down to human size.
So it just makes sense that his evolution is now of he's an old, he as we all do, you know what I mean, he's just getting older, getting more serious about his career, and his career.
Older. He and I went to school together. He was a very good friend of mine in high school.
Yeah, I've never actually.
I have composition notebooks of poetry that he wrote in high school that I'm holding on to. He asked for them back one time, but I'm like, you gave them to me, and I'm going to hold on to these until I really need a big favor.
I've never actually met him. I've been at certain events with him, but I will tell you this. I mean, I've always loved. My favorite is the "I'm not selling pit bull. I've got Chihuahua." That's always been my favorite one. Yeah. Oh, did she?
Yeah.
And his songs, and now like to see what he's doing, with the Malfunction show, like when he interviewed all the panhandlers, for that one episode, then he tackled the Chamorro Land Trust and did it in a way that I think really appeals to he did it comedically, but it's because it's so transparent and it seems almost so like not on the up and up that it's just easy to poke fun at, and he does a really good job at it.
Right, and just in the realm of podcasts, it's like that's how versatile it is. It can be literally anything.
Yeah.
Anything, and I'm waiting for more people to see that. And
I know. I'm still gonna start mine.
Yeah, we're still waiting for Blake. I told Blake after a 3-hour talk, I was like, dude, podcast, bro, you got to do it. I mean, it's, to me, this is what I see, this is what I foresee. All the arts, for the very first time in Guam's history, we actually can identify ourselves here through the personality of the arts, through what people are putting out in video, in digital media, in painting, music, whatever it may be, blogging, video blogging. This is the true personality of Guam. Like we are now identifying ourselves. Crazy.
And producing content that's gonna be there forever, and then you can always reference.
Constantly.
Like, oh, what were they doing on Guam in this year?
Yeah.
You know, you can always go watch or look or I mean, and that's where like guys, like the guys like you were very instrumental. Guys like the Liquid Skull, the Liquid Soul people.
Chase Weir.
Right. Yeah. You know, I mean, like they're showing an aspect of Guam that
Mighty Island just dropped the Guam Marathon video, and I was like, holy moly!
Didn't catch that one.
It's like,
no. It's pretty amazing how at least even video production, how it has elevated and reached new levels just in the last few years.
Yeah, there was a music video, a Long Drive Home song.
Is it like with the guy who's like in all of the music videos?
Yeah,
and
Jose.
all the commercials. Yeah, that guy. I'm like, he's in all of the music videos. And then I was on Instagram, and then it was
Jose,
like
I know you have like 8 girlfriends, bro.
Like
of course you do.
You gotta have great girlfriends.
And then it was like, it was that guy. I'm like, that's the guy.
Play it real quick. Let's just see the. So I believe
Jose.
So this was put together by a group of videographers. I don't know if Mighty Island's included in this, but
Josie was watching The West Wing, and they referenced Guam.
Yes.
In her Instagram story today.
Just turn it down just a little bit more. More. Yeah, it's like bumping. There you go. Yeah, I mean, we'll just watch it like the first before the song starts. What is the song called again?
Breathe.
Breathe. There it is.
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
Oh.
So this video was.
Can you just pause it real quick, or throw it up on the for everyone else to see?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that guy is in all the videos.
Yeah. He's in all of
all the Guam videos. He was on an Instagram sponsored post that I saw today for Windward Memorial.
I actually just moved back a while ago.
You must have a good agency.
Nice to see you.
I think these guys are at Kamachili Tree Store. Yeah, look at it. I mean,
shout out to Cross Island Road.
Yeah. I mean, the cinematography in itself. You know what I mean? And the music. This is Guam music, right?
Right.
And so that's what I was saying. Like with media today, and the fact that we're able to put our the things that we create, whether you're creating it physically or creating it on a computer.
What's up, Brandon?
Or anything like that. Now people know what the people are like here.
Yeah.
Because whenever I travel, you can kill it. Whenever I travel somewhere, the first place I want to go to is to the art district, all the time, because that's where everything is that you would think is the true nature of a place, right? Mm-hmm. Where all the murals are at, where all the people are selling things they make, and paintings of local artists and stuff like that. I mean, you guys beg to differ, or
no?
Yeah,
I agree. The art. What's interesting to me is how it has changed from what we grew up thinking what Chamorro art or local art was. It was all traditional stuff. It was the huts and the laddie stones and stuff like that. And I love that now, like with the GACs as an outlet for people for artists to come out. There's now this other aspect of what local art is, and I love that Josh Agerstrand has helped to open that up as an event that showcases local artists, where it's not all landscapes and sunsets and laddie stones. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but that doesn't have to be what Guam art is. Right.
I've had this conversation like early episodes of differentiating between indigenous art, traditional cultural art, or this is what the big question was: is the art being created today considered indigenous art? Right? Technically, yes, right, because it's coming from here. But if you ask certain people, no, because it doesn't include stuff that represents what ancient Guam used to be like, right? So I think there will always be that sort of like battle between
Sure.
between
I
what's
can see that.
what's true art. I may be saying, yeah, this is the true personality of Guam today, but guarantee someone's gonna be like, nah, dog.
But
No.
even then, what about all the fashion designers that have come out of Guam?
Yeah.
I mean, like the Crowns guys, you know what I mean? And there's a few other fashion lines, like Fokai and all that. I mean, like, is that also, would you consider that art? Because some of the things that like Fokai makes or even Crown makes, you know what I mean? I mean, it looks, whether you would wear it or not.
Well, you wouldn't find it anywhere else.
Yeah, and it looks really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said,
I think Roman puts the boat basin on a whole entire button-down
Yes.
shirt.
he puts the
Yes.
coordinates, you know what I mean?
Correct.
And he makes the seals, with Guam kind of hidden in it, and he comes up with these slogans, and I mean, so, there's all kinds,
Right.
and
So
not to mention even the musicians and stuff. Yeah.
So going back to what you say, when you travel, you look for the art districts because you think that is one of the best places to kind of get a feel for what the identity of the place that you're visiting. And I agree with you. And I think, though, that it's nice to see that we here on the island have expanded beyond what we grew up thinking what was local art, indigenous art.
Right.
It's different now. There's modern art. It's mixed into it, and I love that.
And there's different cultures too.
Absolutely. And I even, going to the music part, I love this whole movement of creating your own music and not just being a cover band in a bar, which to me, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. If that's your thing, then go for it.
Yeah.
But 10 years ago, even, I didn't know of a lot of people who were making their own music.
Yeah, I think a couple years ago, in 1 year, over 5 albums came out.
And that's, to me, that is so exciting, and that it's inspiring, because to me, when an artist goes out on a limb like that to put themselves out, whether it's a podcast, whether it's an album, whether it's their own art show, you really are making yourself, as the artist, you are putting yourself in the most vulnerable position.
And I
For
throw
sure.
food in there too.
Right. Yeah.
And it
yeah,
takes
for sure.
it
I mean,
takes a lot of
right in the
courage.
mix.
because
A lot of courage.
a lot of Chamorro fusion. I mean, whether it be here local, whether it be a food truck, with barbechu, or you know what I mean. I mean, like I would throw food, and especially now because
Absolutely.
food is greatly, especially with rest in paradise, Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah. Oh
But,
man. Yeah, dude.
But I mean, especially with since 2000, you know what I mean? Since him, since the Travel Channel, since since shows like Chopped and
Hey
all
Matt,
these other
grab
things.
that bottle and like a cup of ice. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like a ice bucket.
A bowl of ice.
I just wanted to say something off air, off mic, because it's fun. Matt, congrats on episode 150, bro. Good seeing you. But yeah, I mean, and it's crazy because so I had a friend. Shout out to my pari, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been here long enough to have one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, Artie Gibson. Artie Gibson. Yeah, I love Artie.
Yeah. Artie.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, I tried to get him to come on one time, and he didn't answer me. But I don't know if that was because I asked him to come on, or it's because I called him Manny Delgado from Modern Family before that, because I always poke fun of him. I'm like,
Jesus.
I know you're Manny from Modern Family, right? It's the same. Love you, Artie. No, but he just got back from the States, and he was telling me how I think he was in Oregon or San Fran,
I
somewhere
think there's another one there, dude.
somewhere around there, and he said that somebody was like, "Hey, you're from Guam?" I think it was Oregon because pot's legal, right? And so, or I guess it could have been San Fran too because it's legal there as well.
Yeah, and Colorado. It could have been.
Yeah, but it was one of those. It
Could have been
was
Canada
West
or
Coast. It was
Uruguay too.
Could have been Oklahoma, where it's now. Yeah, where it's now.
Yeah. Or Washington D.C.
Yeah, or Vegas. Or We could go on and on and on. Boo.
Sorry. Can we get a list of all the legalized states?
30. There's 20 or 30.
Nah, I'm just joking, B.
No. So no, but somebody found out that he was from Guam. They're like, "Oh, you're from Guam?" And he was like, "Oh, do you know that band 4-Piece?" And Artie's like, "The lead singer's my cousin. Like I grew up with the keyboard." You know what I mean? Like he just went on, but it's just crazy that somebody from the States found out. It was like, "Oh, you're from Guam? Oh, do you know this band called 4-Piece?" Right. And it's just crazy that there is. Whether we realize it here locally or not, boots on the ground, like there is some, there is food and or culinary and and art and music and
and
all kinds of
I believe if I'm not
mistaken,
there's a lot of people in some of the top places in the States.
My buddy Nate.
I know someone who works at Pixar.
Yeah.
You know,
that's right. My buddy Nate, his brother dances for Lady Gaga, danced with Lady Gaga in the Super Bowl when she performed a couple years ago down in Houston. Nate Respicio, shout out to him.
Okay, yeah, one of my cousins actually danced for Britney Spears.
Ambrosia, okay,
and back in the day when she was in her prime. And he also danced for Ricky Martin in the last couple years.
We got Jess Marati. Jess Marati, who was I think she went to Princeton and went on to write for Huffington Post, like freelance for Huffington Post. And made Jackie Marati's daughter.
Yeah, right.
Also from here.
Huffington Post.
She went on to fashion even. Like she was a fashion columnist, I think, or I could get that wrong, but I know she wrote about fashion for Huffington Post.
Yeah, I have a classmate
and a few other publications. So
who is he's part of the 3D printing world. I think he owns a company. I don't want to get this wrong, but he owns. Long story short, man, he owns a company that's involved.
Please
with 3D
go into
printing and
detail.
Stuff. Nah, I don't know the detail. That's the thing. Someone's gonna listen to like, dude, you are lying, bro.
I'm just reading your eyes. I was like, no, please, no. But yeah.
But yeah, people doing amazing things all over the place, right? Yeah. And the fact that we can still associate, I put myself at fault for this because all the time on this show I always say, like if you're not doing it here, you're not doing it, right? But if there are people who need to go out to the States to sort of find that what they're doing, but mostly what I'm talking about is people who don't want to come back and share
and spread
things that they've learned abroad, right?
Right.
And you find people who have been out in the States for 20, 30 years.
You know what? And
but still have an opinion about what's going on here, right?
Right. That is one of the things. That is one of my pet peeves, actually.
Yeah.
Someone who hasn't lived here in a significant amount of time, yet thinks they have it all figured out and what Guam needs to do to fix its problems.
Right.
Or they just want to criticize and not offer any solution.
Right.
They'll do that too. You're like, oh, well, this and this. It's like, oh,
I don't remember it when
you posted this from Vegas. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean,
you always see those the commenters who talk about like how they would fix something, and then they'll go into, when I was in Guam in 1978.
Dude, between now and then, the Cold War and the internet happened. And Toys R Us went out of business. Come on, man.
Did you see that sad photo
today? My gosh, that was
Brian, can you pull this up?
No, the saddest photo
Pull it
was
up.
The saddest.
I want everyone else that's watching to suffer because you cannot unsee this.
The saddest part of that whole photo was that someone applied the Thanos fucking snap pixelated.
Yes, I saw that too. Yes.
I didn't see that one. I can't see that one.
Way to make it even worse.
I did not see that movie.
Yeah, you didn't see it.
So what does that mean, the Thanos?
It's like a
spoiler alert.
Like Josie's like, well, actually, it's
everyone dies.
Speaking of, is that the last movie you saw?
The last movie I saw was Infinity War.
What about you?
The last two movies I saw was Infinity War.
Josie. So you saw it with somebody who wanted to see it with
Deadpool 2.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Okay, so I got you both beat.
They all die.
Only.
Just kidding.
Wow.
No. I'm just
Thanos dies as Cable.
They
right?
all die.
Can you bring up? Did you find the
Everybody
picture?
dies.
You find the picture? It's Toys R Us.
Toys R Us final farewell.
Yeah,
Toys R Us.
it's
Jeffrey
like
says bye.
Yeah,
or something.
the giraffe. The giraffe.
Just do Toys R Us images past 24 hours. It'll come up. Sadly. Yep. There it is. So I just went and saw a week ago today, and I got in early too, like the 3:50 p.m. showing. I took another trip to Jurassic World.
Oh, is it good?
I haven't seen that.
The preview was so epic, dude.
I love dinosaurs. You gotta understand.
You love dinosaurs?
So I may be a little biased. I am all in. Okay, when it comes to dinosaurs, I'm all in. So I went and saw Jurassic. The first one, Jurassic World.
Okay.
Twice in the theater. And This one I think is a
Go
lot.
ahead and turn on the TV, dude.
This one, because kind of like the superhero movie franchise, this one is a franchise, right? And I gotta say, it's if you watch it, which I believe it's got to be, especially after watching this one for sure, it's got to be a trilogy. So if you watch this one like it's the middle of the trilogy, you won't be disappointed. But if you watch it like, oh, it's just a Jurassic World sequel, you may be a little disappointed. A little bit.
I don't know. My favorite part of the previews is when all the dinosaurs were falling into the water.
I haven't even seen the
So
preview.
the only thing that can, spoiler alert, did you notice what was going on? This isn't really a spoiler alert.
Yeah, the asteroids.
It's not asteroids.
Oh, it's an asteroid. They're destroying the island.
No, not even that at all. It's the only thing that can make dinosaurs and humans both alike become one and run for their lives. It's Mother Nature. The island that they're on is
It's a volcano.
It's a dormant volcano for like thousands of years, but for whatever reason, the start of Jurassic World, this new one, they deemed it active, and so it's exploding. So they got to get there. Even though the dinosaurs are assholes and they kill everybody,
Yeah.
the whole point of the movie is that all the same crew from the first one are the two main people,
Yeah.
right? They're going back there.
You're totally ruining this movie for.
Well, no. I'm not. They're just going back there to save. No, there's much more.
Okay,
But,
okay.
the premise is they're going back to the island with they're going to go face to face with the volcano
Right.
to save the dinosaurs.
I see.
Right, and so that's just like the first quarter of the movie.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's like the first half of
It's like the first
not even half.
last
first-
quarter of the movie.
There's much more.
75. It's the first 90 minutes of the movie.
Let's just say this. I'm just gonna say this. Just like the first one ended, and this is no spoiler alert. The megalodon, it's still missing.
Really?
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna say, for sure in the third one.
I'm
it's coming
falling
back.
behind on my summer movies, man.
You gotta come. You know what? You've been gaming.
FIFA.
Just
That's it. No, I'm not a big gamer, man.
ask Josie about the World Cup.
I don't know anything.
She's been
about
following one team.
South Korea,
France.
France.
My
Yeah.
boyfriend's from Paris. So
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
See, and me, I've been following Mexico because there's no USA in the mix this year. You know what I mean? So
Who's
it's,
the closest?
it's kind of the free. No, I'm half Mexican.
You are?
I am from Texas. Yeah.
Ah.
I
He
could
doesn't
play.
look
Is your middle
Mexican.
name Javier?
I could.
Blake Javier.
Unfortunately, there's no Spanish translation for Blake.
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 So,
Blake Javier.
Watson.
yes. So I've been following Mexico. And
Oh,
they've been-
okay.
yeah, they've been.
They got saved by
They got
South Korea.
lucky,
saved.
yeah.
So there was a video I saw. It was showing everybody's face in their hands when they're down 3-0 until they saw the result of South Korea, Germany, and they were like, "Yeah,
So did you
we're
see?
down 3-0, but fuck yeah!"
So this is what happened in Mexico. So Mexico, by the way, and I said this earlier this morning. Mexico, by the way, is having the bet. They're doing the World Cup better than anybody's ever done it before. Mexico, after they beat Germany the first time, they caused an earthquake.
Right.
Okay.
I saw
from,
that.
from jumping. So then they went on to play. They beat South Korea, which I watched that. That's the only game of the World Series I've consumed like from beginning to end.
World Cup. Right.
What'd I say?
World Series.
Did I really?
Yeah.
World Cup. Yeah, it was South Korea and Mexico, and Mexico did great. And actually, South Korea made a really good comeback, but Mexico, just dominated them. Then they got beat by Sweden.
Right.
And so after they were watching that game, all the fans back in District Federal, Mexico City, they went, when Germany lost, they went to the South Korean embassy.
Oh, and they were dancing outside.
And they were dancing outside, and they called out the South Korean representative, the head of the embassy or whatever, the guy from South Korea that's stationed down there.
Right.
And they did tequila shots with them, and they danced with them. And then Mexico offered 20% discounts for flights from Mexico to South Korea.
Nice.
No
and
way.
they deemed them hermanos.
Oh no.
They deemed the South Koreans brothers
awesome.
because they bounced Germany.
I
and
think
they
in
were able to
Russia,
advance.
the Mexicans found one South Korean guy, and they were all like cheering this one South
Really?
Korean guy on. And the video went viral. Everyone's
That's
just like
cool.
throwing him in the air, and he's
Yeah.
like the only South Korean that they can find.
Yeah.
And it's like a gang of Mexican people, just like hundreds of them, just cheering
Mexico's
with him.
doing the
Yeah.
World Cup right. They really are. Meanwhile, is there any Brian?
Wait,
can you-
wait, before we go on, let's throw up this picture real quick.
This
Throw
one?
up this picture real quick. That one, of the giraffe.
Oh yeah.
That's it. That's what Blake wanted everyone to suffer for. So if you're watching it,
Isn't that sad?
That's pretty sad, man. Like how can you? The Toys R Us has been around for over 20 years, right?
I mean, I want to say since the 60s.
Really?
Yeah. I want to say for a long time. Brian,
Wikipedia that shit.
Brian,
dude.
pull that up.
Come on.
What happened?
Well, is it? I haven't been. I know they're closing, but I haven't been following the story. I don't know the history. Is it because they couldn't compete with Amazon?
Went bankrupt.
It went bankrupt.
I don't know why. I don't know if it was online. I don't know if there was an actual.
Because they didn't evolve.
Yeah, I don't know if it.
Right. I was
probably
thinking
what it
about that. I was
Right.
thinking like, was it? Did they try to compete with Amazon?
57.
Or was it?
1957.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, the product retailer was actually found in 48, but they didn't go in. They weren't incorporated or.
After 70 years in operation.
It's modern. Oh, whoops! It's modern incarnation in 1957. So it's been Toys R Us as we know it since 1957. But it
Okay.
started in 1948.
Yeah, bankruptcy of the chain in the United States has not affected various international operations.
Do you know the song?
No, I don't.
I don't want to grow up.
I'm a Toys R Us kid.
There's a million different things that I can play with.
Can we play it? Can we play
it?
They're going bankrupt, right? We can't get
They're
in trouble for
done.
that.
No,
Yeah.
they're done. That was
Done
it.
completely.
That's why they took that picture because the
Really?
Guam store closed yesterday.
Right, I saw that.
It was
So the
everything that was left.
90% off.
90% off everything that was left.
Yeah.
Fixtures, everything.
Dang.
Yeah.
And the shelves, right, too.
Here it is. They're gonna pull us from YouTube. No, because this is iHeart 80s commercials forever.
Right.
Wanna grow up, find a Toys R Us kid. They got a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. I don't wanna grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid. They got the best for so much less. You really flip your lid. From bikes to trains to
Video games.
it's the biggest toy
Store there is.
I don't
Gee
wanna grow
whiz.
up, 'cause baby, if I did,
That's Terry from Salute Your Shorts, by the way.
Salute your shorts.
I wanna be a Toys R Us kid.
Yeah.
Damn. Rest in peace, Toys R Us.
Yeah. Man.
What a legacy, man.
Yeah. Yeah. You could go in there and you could ride any bike you wanted to. You could play with any toy you wanted to as long as it wasn't sealed.
Right.
Which most of them were sealed. But you could ride the bikes and like the scooters and the wagons and stuff. It was a good time. There was a local place called Toy Palace, maybe
I don't know. I'm only used to KB Toy Store.
from here.
Yeah, that's what I grew up on.
Bro,
Dude, going to Toys R Us for me was like a special occasion.
it was like that scene in Big where
It's like-
where they play the.
Whoa, this is a huge toy store. This is like first time in California, you know? And yeah, it was always a special occasion going to Toys R Us. It was not like a common thing to just go to, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, yeah, of course not. I mean, even for me, like, because I mean, like because I grew up in pretty rural Texas, so like the closest Toys R Us was like 45 minutes to an hour away, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like we were talking about earlier, small-minded people, who don't ever want to leave, like, much less their street or their, like their,
Not
their.
small-minded because it's not for everyone. I think that
Would it be small town-minded? Would that be a thing? Because like I can tell you this.
Cultured?
Well, I can tell you this because like I grew up in little towns and like all around Texas with like 500 people, 1,000
Okay,
people,
yeah, that's a
and
super
none
small
of those
town,
people
yeah.
ever leave. You know what I mean? Like they don't ever leave. They all know each other. They all do this, and they're not small-minded, but they're
Right.
just small town-minded. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
it's not that they don't. It's not that they're not privy to the fact that the world exists. They just don't really care to indulge in it because
It's
they're
not,
they're
yeah.
good where they're at.
like I have a friend. Travel is not his thing.
Right.
He learns a lot of stuff on the internet. He loves travel shows, but when it comes to the actual act of traveling, it's just not for him. He's not interested. He's not interested.
That's odd.
And
It's pretty
It
odd.
is odd. It sounds odd, but it's not like he has never traveled. But that's just not his thing, And my dad, he passed away a couple years ago, but he moved from Guam to live out in Boise, Idaho, with my sister. And Boise is like a really big small town, but it reminds me a lot like Guam, where it's just small, but kind of spread out. And everything that my dad needed, his routine was within this like 10-minute radius. And my dad liked that. And like I said, I think it's people. Their paths are different.
Yeah.
Right.
And their comfort zones are different,
Exactly. Their comfort zones are different. That's a very good way to put it.
Yeah, and like my dad, like I was always envious of my dad because growing up, he got to travel everywhere for his job. But like if you asked him, he didn't even like going to Dallas like 45 minutes away because of traffic. Like he hated traveling, but he always did it, but he like if you told him that he never had to travel ever, he would have been completely fine.
But that's almost like you work at Wendy's, but you hate Wendy's because you work there.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of like the same deal. Like you travel so much, you end up just like really hating travel.
Well, like that's what like Bourdain used. Not to keep bringing him up, but that's what Bourdain would say. This is that he travels for a living. So like it was more of a chore. It becomes more of a chore than it does an exotic lifestyle.
Right.
Like for some of us who are. Do the 9-to-5 thing, or we have to be at a certain place at a certain time. It may seem because a lot of people, they just long for what they can't have, right?
I think it's different too. Like traveling as your job is way different from traveling just for pleasure, for vacation.
You've done both, right?
Because when you travel on vacation, you're usually with somebody you care about that you want to be there with. If you're traveling for your job, you're on your own. It's totally different. It's lonely. I have gone on trips for work.
Me too.
And
2-month-long trips, and it's like super by yourself.
It does get lonely. Right? Yeah. It does get lonely. It's not the same. It's not to say you can't enjoy it or find things that are enjoyable about a work trip, but it's a completely different experience from traveling for fun with somebody you care about. So if I were to take that nomadic, do that digital nomad life, that's what I mean. It doesn't appeal to me because I don't want to spend that long stretch of time just me by myself. Is
being more nested something that appeals more to you?
I like the balance. Okay. I like the balance of both. Like I like to go away. I love to go somewhere completely foreign, completely different, somewhere I never imagined I would be able to get to. Mm-hmm. But then at the end of that, I'm ready to come home. I'm ready to come home and start dreaming again about where I want to go and get stuff done. I like having a place of my own.
So you think if you were constantly traveling like place to place to place, never going back to home base,
almost like you're on tour, right?
Right.
Yeah, like a tour.
It'll almost like drive you mad because you have to sort of reconnect with the place you're at.
I think so. Not drive me mad, but I do want to return to something that's familiar. Even with cuisine, like if I'm traveling and I've been on the road for a long time and I've been eating 2 weeks of like real Chinese food and
comfort food, right?
And not like Panda Express Chinese food, but like Chinese
like beef
food.
Tongue.
It's totally different. Food in China is totally different from the Chinese food that we know in the West. But to me, after a week of eating that, I want something that's familiar. I want to go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac or something like that because I need to touch back to something that's familiar and restart again. I
think I mentioned this before. The first time I went to Bangkok, like I think I was there for like 2.5 weeks or so the first time, and like within like the first 3 or 4 days, and I never eat McDonald's or like fast food too much here, but like I went for whatever reason I had this crazy craving after like 3 or 4 days of being in Bangkok and eating Thai food, everything local. I went and got 2 supersized order of French fries from McDonald's.
I did that in Osaka.
And I squirted all the American, not the Thai, but the American ketchup that I could. And I demolished 2 that was my meal. Yeah. 2 full-size orders, supersized orders of French fries. I've never done that in my life before or since.
Yeah, see? So that's what it is. It's your body telling you, like, I need... This is great.
Right.
Yeah, what you've been having for the past week or 2 has been great.
But come on,
I need to go back.
I wonder what it takes to break that sort of connection to a place that you have to travel for so long. Because the couple that I know, they've been on the road for 4 years.
But they're together.
They're together.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's different. But like,
and they stay in a place for maybe like 6 to 8 months before they move and they travel again.
Yeah, I think it's different when you and your partner can go together. It can be different, but that opens up a whole other.
You gotta be close, man.
Yeah, you gotta be close. You've also have
to travel with somebody.
I can't imagine when
they were married. If that helps.
Yeah.
Okay, or at least they're married. Okay.
But even in relationships, I need a lot of space. I need a lot of time alone. A lot of space. So much so because I work at home.
Yeah.
I'm a freelancer, so I work at home. So I have the luxury of Monday to Friday from 7 o'clock when Julian leaves the house to like 6 o'clock when he comes home. That's my space, right?
Do whatever you want.
And then so here comes the weekend, and suddenly he's home. By Sunday evening, I'm like, you got to go back to work. You're in my space.
Can't wait for Monday.
Yeah, like 3-day weekends or extended holidays. I'm like, I can't. What time is it?
Honey, I'm gonna take leave. No, don't take leave. Keep working.
No,
Save your
see-
leave. Save your leave.
Yeah.
But it's different when we travel. When we're able to travel together. No problems, and I think it's because we're outside of our typical environment. So we're exploring this new country together.
And it's new and
whatever.
fun, and and you both are in that mindset that we're like, hey, let's go explore together. Let's go find things to do together because we are here.
What is it
let's
about
go see what this place has to offer specifically.
What is it about traveling that makes you like feel the need to walk 6 miles a day? It's like.
It's just the spirit of adventure. I think.
Why can you drink way more? Like no matter, seriously, why is it that you can be like I'm in vacation mode, I'm gonna start drinking at 8, and by 6 you're still kind of like. I'm okay. Well, if I was at home, I'm not gonna wake up and go to work drunk and then get home and start drinking too.
You kind of just snap off, I guess.
It's so weird, you know.
It's the
mindset.
It's the adrenaline,
it's
right?
It's the spirit of adventure.
Yeah. I think
And then
it really
the
is.
drinking thing, it's like we're not home, we're on vacation.
it's not
We're
even
gonna
that-
fucking drink.
Right,
It's like
that makes sense.
And I know why. I mean, I know that other places, especially when you travel to foreign countries, like they have to deal with less sanctions with their FDA. You know what I mean? Like they're meaning their food is more fresh. But it's always like food is always tastes better.
Yeah.
The alcohol's sweeter, always sweeter. Your tolerance is always higher. You always sleep better. It's just when you're on vacation, it's just your whole mind is just right. I guess I don't know. Is that weird?
That's what it is. It's you're taking yourself out of your
routine,
and your daily environment. You're in this new place, and then it's like it's balls to the wall.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
It inspires her to jump on beds. That's that for a long time. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Jump from bed to bed.
No, she jumped. No, everywhere she goes for a while.
I
you jump on bed?
I always end the trip with a bed jumping photo.
Always.
Yes.
Always.
That's like.
Is it on your Instagram?
Some of them are, yeah.
Yeah. So she's always she's jumped on beds, and there's a picture of her jumping on a bed everywhere she stayed.
Really?
Like she could have a whole
You know how
Instagram
some
account
people
of her
collage
jumping on beds.
photos,
Right,
like their
right,
signature
right.
photo
Right,
so my signature photo is me in a hotel room, wherever city I'm in,
Yeah.
and jumping on a bed.
Can you pull one of those up, Matt?
Yeah.
Latitude 13 on Instagram.
Yeah, just Instagram.
show you.
Latitude 13.
I haven't seen any in a while.
Well, the last trip I was on a cruise ship.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have one of those. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite place?
Cairo, Egypt.
Oh, see, okay, so I was
Never been there.
coming into
3
this.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
coming into this podcast,
Uh-huh.
I was thinking like, how can I just casually drop in? Josie, I'm really jealous that you went to Egypt. How was it?
You should go. I
And
have
you
a
just
friend
did.
there, and he will take care of you.
Really? Okay.
My friend Nash.
Because I really only want to go there to see the pyramids, and I know kind of
Yeah.
outside of that, it
Yeah,
can kind
you
of
could
get
do that in 2 days.
get dodgy. It gets a little and you know what? But I got the perfect excuse because my mom lives in Bahrain right now.
Okay.
So I could go to Bahrain, check her out, then on the way home, maybe
Right
hit,
on.
Egypt.
This
and
last
then
trip
come
that I
back.
did, I
Wow.
was only in Cairo for 2 days. I'm like, we're going to Jordan. I can't go all the way out there and not stop in Cairo and say
Right.
hi to my friend. So and it was Julian's first time there. So
Is it private?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Well, you got to stay on top of those Russian bots. Put it on private. Those fucking Russian bots, man. So sick of the Russian bots.
They'll get you.
Yeah.
They'll get you.
But
the Nigerian kings as well. Don't forget about the Nigerian kings.
Right.
You can go to Cairo and you can see the pyramids.
You rode a camel.
Yes, you can do that at the pyramids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
Very
like
cool.
I'm saying, my friend.
So I
she'll take
heard
care of
this
you.
is the latest news I've heard about the pyramids. Is that
It's older than we think.
it's older than we think.
Way older.
Way older, like 40,000 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Like the
Where did I hear
this
that?
is
That's just recently.
actually
right?
so Matt, pull this up. This is
I think you just like saying that. Matt, pull this up.
she's on to
Pull this
me.
up, Matt.
She's on to me.
He's
Yeah.
enjoying this.
He
You're
must
enjoying
have
this.
said
You're
that like
enjoying
10
this.
times. Matt, pull this up.
Because you know why? Because Matt, normally when I do my radio show, I'm the one who's got to research this stuff for like a day and a half, and I got to have all the facts. I can't just be like, Blake, pull this up. Oh, real quick.
He's really late. He's really milking it.
So Matt, pull this up.
Yeah, that's like the name of the episode. Episode 150. Matt, pull this up.
I think the last time you were on, we did a bunch of.
It was the first time, right?
Yeah.
It was the first time. No,
Yeah.
because I go, I'm sorry, Matt, I made you work, and Boo was like, no. He goes, honestly, he goes, at least now, he goes, you tested it out well. He goes, you
Right.
He goes, he
that
was
the very first time we actually used the whole.
And I put him,
fucking,
Josie, I put him through
look up
hell.
stuff.
We pulled up everything.
Everything, literally. Okay, what
Everything.
do you want us to pull up?
The fact that Cleopatra is closer to the invention of the iPhone than she is the building of the pyramids.
What?
I'm not joking.
So just put
Cleopatra is closer in.
Cleopatra pyramids timeline
Yeah.
iPhone.
Yeah. Yes. See, he likes it too.
Nice.
That's how you Google shit.
Yeah.
When I see people Google like, what is the
They try to rephrase it perfectly.
quadratic?
Yeah, see, you were right.
There we
It's
go.
letter number one.
There we go. Cleopatra lived closer to the creation of the iPhone than she did the building of the Great Pyramid. Is this true, and how?
All right. Everyone has already explained that Cleopatra did, in fact, live closer to the iPhone launch than the building of the pyramids. The question remains how. We typically associate both Cleopatra and the pyramids with the height of ancient Egypt, but both of these are false. The Egyptian Empire went through three stages where the civilization thrived, and then fell, and then thrived, and then fell, and so on.
Cataclysmic asteroids and huge,
Really?
and huge ice ages, or like ice ages going around.
Yeah. Did the explosion of Mount Vesuvius have any effect?
It did. It partially sent the world into a nuclear winter, which basically means like the ash is so great and it blocks out the the
sunlight.
atmosphere. Yeah,
Right.
so like it kind of sends the world into an ice age. And actually,
Go down a little bit more.
what's crazy is that the last time the Earth was in a mini ice age, it was the last time that the last super volcano erupted, which was in Indonesia, I think in like 1830, 1840, somewhere around there. So like if Yellowstone, we would
That's the
survive.
next one, right?
Yeah, so like when Yellowstone when Yellowstone blows, us over here on Guam, we would survive the initial
Right here.
blow.
You can stop right here.
We would survive the initial blow. But the sheer just volume and the sheer eruption of whatever
Of how it'll affect the weather patterns.
It'll send the world into a nuclear winter, which initially will block out the sun, and that's very dangerous for us out here because we're an island.
Right.
So what it'll do is it'll start blocking out the sun, so everything will go really cold.
Everything will die.
You won't be able to grow food,
Right.
and the fact that we rely on most of our meat, produce okay, but if it's winter, it's going to knock out that because the temperatures are going to drop. But like as far as like meat, not a lot of people, not just here, but really in Western civilization, know how to hunt, kill, harvest, clean their own meat.
Right.
And so, especially for us out here, which we rely greatly on meat to be imported. If a nuclear winter happened, like if Yellowstone were to blow, we would probably all eventually starve to death just because we wouldn't get the proper rations of
Even
food
though
that we
we're so
need.
far away.
Because even then, everybody else would be starving too. You know what I mean? Like whoever survived and everybody else is going to hoard their own stock. They're definitely not going to send it to us,
Right.
regardless of the money. And
I was
so,
telling someone
the
the only-
Banatu are going to go, the fish are going to go, and then you're just going to really, we would all starve.
Yeah.
Basically is how that would happen.
I think we would survive a zombie apocalypse.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think
They don't go in the water, do they?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
They
They're
don't
not
go in
swimmers.
water?
They're not
I
very
don't know.
good swimmers.
I don't watch zombie movies. I never have. I watched the World War Z with Bradley Pitt.
Oh, that one's pretty
That
good.
was a good one.
Yeah.
No, but
It was
first of
intense.
all,
It was intense. It was intense.
let me say
but they were
something.
too much like the I Am Legend.
The theater that I went to, you know what these assholes did? I'm not gonna name the theater, but it was local.
It could only be one of three, so okay.
But you know what they did? We went and sat down, and instead of getting like the half a day, how much do you weigh, and all those like public service, like commercials and all the like the previews.
Right.
They started it. Spoiler alert! It's been out for a while. But have you ever seen World War Z? The movie, like whenever like the lights went down, we all sat down. The lights went down, and the and it opened with them crashing in the plane and Brad Pitt living through the crash, and then they backed it all the way up to the beginning, and we're like. So they started the movie halfway through, like when they hit play,
we didn't rewind
they
the
didn't
film.
rewind it. Yeah, so when they hit play, it was halfway through the movie. So like we saw Brad Pitt crash in
no
a plane, and we saw we saw this crazy like zombie
Just turn the base towards you.
oh yeah, we saw this. Oh okay,
Yeah.
so we saw this like crazy like zombie I guess surge. And then like they started over, we're like, wait, how did we get here? And then like they started it from the beginning, like they're like, wait, and they rewinded it, and they rewinded it not like they didn't turn it black, they rewinded it like you would like YouTube, so like you could see everything that's happening. You're like,
Wow, that's really.
yeah. And I didn't like zombies before,
Right.
and I was like, all right, give it a chance because it's my Brad.
Now you really don't like zombies.
And now I'm just like, fuck zombies, bro. And you know why?
So you never
know
got into Walking Dead then?
No, but you know why I say that? You know what fucked me up on zombies? Was the flood from Halo 1. Because
Yeah,
fuck
yeah.
you. When I kill you, die. Like that's why I don't like zombies, because of video games. Because zombies always come back twice in
They do.
video games.
Yeah, you gotta double tap.
Yeah, see? And that's why I don't like zombies. I don't like them because on video games they come back to
double tap.
life, and when I shoot you in the face with a sawed-off shotgun in a video game, die.
Yeah.
Don't come back and whip me with some kind of tentacle.
Yeah, this ain't video game world.
No.
Okay, let's finish this.
Okay.
Okay. So, well, first Egypt was conquered.
I just want to get to how far. Like,
what's the timeline? So, first Egypt was conquered by Achaemenid Empire, and also called the Ancient Persian Empire.
Achaemenid.
Achaemenid. Keep going down. See if it has a timeline.
I saw a timeline in the original Pika's restroom the other day that talks about how they built the Great Pyramids. And,
Really?
And then 500 years later, they settled the Marianas. So I'm like, first of all, I believe the Marianas part.
Oh, yeah,
But they did not build the pyramids
Here it is.
when you said they did.
So according to history, Cleopatra was born in 69 BC, died in 30 BC. Damn, she was young.
What does that stand for, Boo? You,
What? Before Christ?
yeah.
Yeah.
What about,
Catholic.
What about AD? You're a good Catholic boy. Anybody?
Anno Dominum.
Anno Domini.
Yeah, Ominum.
The year of our Lord.
Yeah.
Shout out to Latin speakers.
That's as far as my Latin goes.
Me too.
Great Pyramid was built in 2580 to 2560.
Apparently, it took like 800 years for the biggest pyramid to be constructed.
Well, there's water erosion on the Great Sphinx too.
Yeah,
Right. That's why they think that there was
That there was
that's
an ice
older.
age and then everything melted.
Right.
Down.
the Great
Started
Pyramid,
again.
the pyramid in the middle. The pharaoh did not live long enough to see his pyramid completed, so his son finished it for him. So the middle pyramid is the
Can you
the
pull
one
that up, like a diagram of the pyramids?
Great Pyramids of Egypt.
Those are the ones you went to, right? Like this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you may have heard of them.
Maybe.
Just maybe.
And then the last pyramid actually looks like the biggest one, but it's not.
Maybe
And that was
Pyramid of Khafre.
images.
Yeah, go to images. Okay, so the middle one is the biggest one.
no. The first one is the Great Pyramid. the very first one in the front. The middle one looks bigger, but it's not bigger. It actually looks bigger because it was built on higher ground.
Okay.
And that was because the son of the guy of the first pyramid, Chups, is the first pyramid.
Can you?
So the middle one.
Is it Matt? Matt, could you go over all the way to the right?
Can you pull it up, Matt?
Matt, all the way to the right. Just that real picture, like the one that's not just straight up. No, over one. The far, yeah, that one. Yeah, just to get a perspective.
So
right?
the middle one looks bigger, but it is actually not bigger than the very first one that you see on the far left, which is which literally that is the Great Pyramid of Giza. So the middle one looks bigger because it's built on higher ground, and that's because the son, the second one, he was the son of the first guy, the first pyramid, and he did not want to disrespect his father by building a pyramid that was bigger than his father. So he
built it on higher ground.
He just built it on higher ground. They look like close together, but they're actually pretty far apart.
Like within a mile.
Within a mile, yes.
Have you been to the Smithsonian in DC?
No, I've never been to the East Coast.
Did they have? Oh, really?
No.
Everywhere you've been.
America is not as exotic.
It's exotic to think, yeah.
If I'm gonna spend $2,000
not
to
much
go
history
somewhere,
Yeah, right. That's exactly what I say.
Yeah.
When people ask me, "Are you coming home?" I'm like, "Am I gonna spend $2,000 to come to Dallas where I can walk around with
I'm
no
interested
eyesight
in
and still
East
be okay?"
Coast.
Or like spend $600 and go to
Right,
Japan
yeah,
or
exactly.
Korea or someplace I've never been. You know,
Same.
Hong Kong or something. There's still a lot of places
Same.
I've never been around here.
Yeah.
But no. But what I was saying is like. What is wrong with this?
It's the base.
Is it me?
Yeah, it's you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll get better.
It's not me. That's for sure.
Be best.
And I completely lost my train of thought. No, but like as far as like is in the city around it is really that close?
No, it's okay. So you see the city. The thing is like, okay, so there's two parts of Cairo. I always thought Cairo was one city, but it's actually Cairo and Giza, and they're separated by the Nile River. So the Egyptians, it goes as far back as the ancient Egyptians when they were building the pyramids. It was the pyramids in Giza, and then the city where the people worked was in Cairo. The sun rises in Cairo, it sets in Giza. Because Giza, where the pyramids are, is like it's a tomb, the burial grounds.
Right.
So
They have mummies?
Not in the tombs,
So
but in the
You saw mummies.
I saw the mummy of Ramses II, the greatest
Wow.
pharaoh who ever lived. And let me tell you, I'm not fucking lying. You could still see hair on his head.
Really?
They mummified him good.
It is amazing.
So I went
amazing.
to. So
Is Egypt a dangerous place to fly to right now?
No.
No.
So I went
Okay.
to. So the reason I
You
asked
don't
you
want
the
to go
question
to
earlier.
like the border areas, the
Gaza Strip.
isolated areas. But like I said, I've been to Cairo 3 times.
And you're not a
And-
journalist, so you're not going to go over there before and stuff, right? Yeah.
And I have a friend, so if you want to go,
Right.
I'll totally
She can hook
take
you
care
up.
of you.
No, but so that's why I brought. But that's why I
Sweet.
brought up the East Coast and specifically Smithsonian earlier because I went to DC one time. You know, because I'm like you. I've been to New York City and that was within the last 3 years, and I've been to DC and that was within the last 4 or 5 years. You know, so and other than that, I've never been to Boston or anywhere else. You know, as far as the East Coast goes, especially the Northeast Coast.
Yeah.
But I did, I got the choice. I was like, oh, you're going to be in D.C. Like, what do you want to do? It's like, oh, well, I want to go to the Smithsonian. Well, then you realize once you get there, there's like 5 Smithsonians. Like
Yeah.
Aerospace. There's
Right, right,
so
right.
I went to the regular, like the
natural
generic,
history.
the natural history. So I saw the original Muppets, but at the time. They had the King Tut. They had the King Tut exhibit there.
Yes.
And they also had other mummies. Like in the Natural History Museum, they have like a few mummies just in glass cases. They're nowhere near like the greatness of Ramsey or any of those. But like
Ramses is the one that lived through the plagues, right?
right, and the biblical one.
Right.
biblical
The
pharaoh.
biblical man.
But
Ramses.
he really was the greatest pharaoh who ever lived. He did so much for his country. King Tut was like this pharaoh who's super famous, but he's only really famous.
He's like King Bhumipol from
Yeah,
Thailand.
Yeah, he's really only famous because his tomb was the only tomb ever found completely untouched, intact. Everything else has
In the
been
Valley of the Kings, right?
in the Valley of the Kings, which is also amazing. You could go
I
there,
took
but you have to fly there.
Egyptology class
Yeah.
for a semester.
But King Tut didn't
Doesn't
do
qualify
anything.
me for
He was pharaoh.
And it was inbred.
Yes,
He died when he was a
But
kid,
most of
right?
He
them-
married his
yeah.
sister.
Most of them were like
Were
that.
inbred.
Well,
yeah.
didn't his sister try to erase all memory of him?
No, you're talking about. She was the.
Nefertiti?
No, not her.
That's Moana, bro. That's the heart.
No, that's Tefiti.
That's Tefiti. Yeah, you're right.
Hatshepsut.
Queen Hatshepsut. So she was a queen. She was a wife of a pharaoh, and then she had the pharaoh's son, and then the pharaoh died, and then the son was so young. He was like
kid, like literally a kid.
Yes.
Right.
So what?
Like
she
8,
did,
right?
So she sent him away. This is the story that was told to me, because there's different interpretations of what she did. But she basically sent the son away to protect him because he was so young and wasn't ready to rule. But he, later on, when he became a man and was ready to be pharaoh, he was so angry and resentful that he had been sent away and kept away for so long. He didn't see it as she trying to groom him and protect him so that he could have the kingdom. So that's when he erased her from her.
Right.
He erased her from every cartouche that she was in.
Every obelisk.
Everything.
Right.
So it's almost like you could almost think that it would be so easy because it's just chipping away stone.
Right.
But she has a temple that you can go see, which is also in Luxor, which is where the Valley of the Kings is. And there are, I think, in the National Museum, there is a statue of her that has a likeness of her.
Her bust.
Yeah. But you need to go.
I want to go.
I want to go. You're making me want to go.
It's super affordable to go.
You just taught me, like, while you were talking, I'm
go
like,
through Manila.
book it. Okay.
You can go through Manila. You can get from here to Manila either on Cebu Air or PAL.
Budget,
or right. And then from Manila to Cairo, we flew last time. I've flown on Kuwait Airways for like $700 round trip, Manila to Cairo.
How are their meals on Kuwait?
Dude, you can choose like so many different
Really?
kinds.
You have a menu?
Super vegetarian. No, you choose it
Super
when-
vegetarian.
You can,
Isn't that just a vegan?
Extra non.
No, because they have like all of these like terms I had never even heard of because you know there's so many different like
methods and
yes,
right.
So you can choose all that when you're online. Who did we fly through last time? I can't remember.
Cathay?
No.
I like Cathay. That's how I went to Rome. I went to Rome via Cathay.
Cathay?
They upgraded. The only time I've ever been in
it was
first
Oman.
class.
Oman Air.
Okay,
Oh,
Oman
not
Air.
Qatar
Oman
Air.
Okay.
Qatar Air, I flew from Tokyo to Paris for $600 round trip.
How was that? Qatar Air's
Damn,
nice.
for real?
Dude.
Yes,
Qatar Air's nice.
honey,
Oh my
yes.
goodness.
You need to search your
Babe.
outbound flights. From,
Babe.
Yeah.
Where you at?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
We're going.
Yes.
We're going, yeah.
It cost me less to go to Egypt and even go as far as Rome and Paris than it was for me to visit my father in Boise from Guam.
Because there's only one airline and one way.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't have a choice. At least, like,
The-
if you
the
can get to Manila or Tokyo, you can get anywhere else cheap.
Right. The trick is really because you already know what it's going to cost you to get from here to Tokyo or from here to Manila.
I did find a flight from Manila to Phoenix for $800.
Yeah, because
I think that's
But you
pronounced
fly-
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Yeah.
You
Got that wrong.
you actually fly from Manila to China though, and then
Yeah.
China to SFO.
But if I'm going to save $500, I could do a 3-hour
I
layover
could probably
in
do
China.
it.
and see
And
see
you're
a new
gonna-
airport.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
and see a new
right.
airport.
I am
Have a drink in
totally-
China.
I'm fine with that. I'm okay. I'm okay.
So we've all been to Osaka, right? We've all been.
No,
to
I've
Osaka.
never been to Osaka. I've only been to Tokyo.
Oh come on.
Yeah,
Or like Kyoto.
No.
You.
I've been to Kyoto, but it's only like day trips.
Is that where the bamboo forest is at?
Yes.
Okay.
I spent so on New Year's Eve, I left my hotel room at like 10:15 on New Year's Eve to go to the Arashima bamboo forest, and I got there at like midnight. Me, baby mama, baby, and it was dark. There was nobody there. We're the only ones there. It was not near like what National Geographic makes it out to be.
Or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was not. You know why? Because it closes. So just so everybody
I was
knows.
just gonna ask you, was it open?
No.
I can't.
I mean, you
imagine
could walk
was
through it, but
open.
there's no lights on. There's nobody. Yeah. So like I went there, but you would never know it because it was dark and it was midnight on New Year's Day.
I have
So,
a
but I
picture.
did spend. I rang in the New Year, standing in there, being like, motherfucker. So I ran into New Year's pissed off because the Hiroshima bamboo forest was not as advertised at midnight on New Year's Eve. But it's not a holiday over there, so
I've never been to anywhere outside of Tokyo, and I definitely want to try and visit.
Yeah,
at least
I want to go
Kyoto
north. I want to go to Sapporo. I want to go skiing. I want to go where it's cold. You know, I like, because I'm to the point now, especially because I like living in Texas. I think I've said this before.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. On the podcast, is that like I've grown up in Texas where it's triple digits during the summer. It's always hot. You know, we got like 3 months of winter and that's about it. And then living here and then elsewhere, Louisiana, I've never lived in cold weather. And I know it sucks, but like I'm good for like 3-4 years straight, you know, like living in like Arctic weather.
Yeah.
But then after that, like maybe I wouldn't like it. But I gotta say, so now like I do not travel unless I can go somewhere cold. Like I'm not I'm not wasting the trip.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I'm
Like
not saying that I'm not gonna go.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I'm planning my trips
Right.
around the weather.
Yeah.
I think November is the perfect time to travel.
Yeah.
That is the perfect month to travel.
Yeah, and to me, October through February, like that's my window. You know what I mean? Like that's when I want to, because I can still find places somewhere where it's cold, snowy. You know, because I've never been skiing. You know,
I hate being cold.
So
honestly.
I've never seen.
I hate being
Then
cold,
go
dude.
like September, October, because then it's kind of changing.
Right.
So you're not getting
I went to
summer.
Boston in September, and they're like, "Oh, you came perfect
And
time."
it was too cold.
No, it was
Should've
actually
listened
really
to
nice.
the song. You should have please moved to Boston in the springtime. Come on, man. Kenny Loggins, it's truth.
Sorry, man.
You know this.
Yeah, but the the weather was just changing from summer to fall, so it just got cold that week that we arrived into Boston. Yeah.
Because if I'm gonna be walking all day, I don't want to be breaking a sweat. I want
Right.
to be able to bundle up and feel.
Plus, like,
yeah.
I don't want to go somewhere where, like for instance, like, so, like, when I organized the big family trip to Bangkok, over Christmas and New Year's, my family, like my sister and her other half and my niece, like, they were coming from Texas, where, it was frigid cold and sleeting, and it even, like, it snowed early this year.
Right.
Like, oh, we're going down to Phuket. I'm like, have fun. Like, you don't want to go to the beach and Parrot? I'm like, that's where I live. I go, you know where I don't live? In a city. You know what I don't get to do? I don't get to breathe smog and ride subways. You know what I mean? And then see homeless people begging, like,
tuk-tuk.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So
Right.
like when I go, I'm not going to Hawaii for the beaches. Like when I used to go to Hawaii, my mom used to live there. First places I would go to Hawaii was to Jack in the Box first, because we didn't have one here at the time, and second of all, it was like straight to the mall. You know what I mean? Or straight to go see like a con. You know what I mean? I didn't go to the beach. I didn't go to Hawaii to go hang out in the ocean.
Us was Leonard's Malasadas.
Didn't we have one here?
Or the Dole
we
Sauce.
had
We did have a Malasadas place over here.
Oh, it wasn't a
in
Leonard's Malasadas.
It wasn't a Leonard's, but it was a Malasadas place
Yeah.
right where the cards place is, the trading cards place.
Yeah, and I heard
In
it was
Tamuning?
actually
In Tamuning?
pretty.
Star.
Yeah. It was that building.
And I heard it was actually
It was
comparable
really,
to.
really
yeah.
good. Yeah,
Whatever happened to that guy?
Now we have Dole Soft Serve.
we do.
I think DFS.
Yeah.
I went to
DFS serves Dole Soft Serve.
yeah, but
Like,
it's expensive.
legit.
It's like $7
Well, it's like $4
Get
for like it's like $4 for like a cup. Like
Oh,
half
okay.
the size.
I lied.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to the Dole
But it's
plantation.
expensive,
That's
yeah.
actually pretty fun.
But it's legit Dole Soft Serve.
You went to the Dole Plantation.
Yeah. And
How was
it's
that?
the same thing, the whole soft serve stuff. But
Yeah.
you get on this train and they take you through the whole aloha and the dude, what's his name, who Mr. Dole, who started the plantation.
Mr. Dole.
Yes, he was also very instrumental in the Hawaiian.
Mr. Dole.
He was also very instrumental in the Hawaiian Senate, and he was an early representative for Hawaii when they became a state. And what's crazy?
He was a really rich white man.
Of course he was, just like AK, just like Atkins Kroll.
Right.
Yeah. But he so what's crazy about like pineapples, so like whenever like in the late 1800s, like whenever Hawaii started becoming like known,
Yeah.
pineapples were such like a symbol of of the rich, that it would take like for like $1,000 then in like 1898 you could rent a pineapple in England to take to a party. Just to be like, yeah, like you wouldn't eat or anything, but you'd be like, yeah, I can afford a pineapple. And you'd pay like $1,000 just to show up. No joke. People just showed up with pineapples. They didn't eat them or nothing. They just showed up with them. Because it was a status symbol.
Yo, whose pineapples?
Yeah, because it was a status symbol.
Don't you fucking touch that pineapple! I gotta return that.
Pull that up, Matt. Pineapple worth $18.90.
I need a running count of how many times Blake has said, "Pull that up, Matt." We need a count. We need a count by the end of this episode.
Pineapples were a status symbol in the late 1890s.
It's almost like tulips, though.
Yeah,
tulips was a very expensive commodity in European times. I think it was in the Renaissance. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people really valued tulips. I watched a documentary on Netflix. It was 4 products that changed the world. It was apples, tulips, potatoes, and
coffee?
Marijuana.
Oh. Yeah. Coffee wasn't one of them?
No.
Shout out to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Who just legalized medical marijuana, which, by the way, that is that's like Cuba opening up to Americans for travel. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so surprised that of all places, Oklahoma voted medical marijuana legal.
Is it a very conservative?
I'm
state?
convinced the most conservative, like the last
Utah.
state. No, the last state. Mate, actually, that's a okay. So the last 2 states,
come on,
arguably the last 2 states,
that's the Mormons, right?
But the last 2 states to legalize marijuana. When everybody, it could be 48 states legalize marijuana, but the last 2 will be Utah and Texas. And I didn't think Oklahoma was that far off from Texas, but the fact that they're they legal. First of all,
that means Texas is pretty close.
We got to go to Oklahoma. They got legalized gambling and legal weed. Give me all the legal gambling and all the legal weed if it's legal. I'm down. You know what I mean?
I will hang out in the Temple of Dionysus all night.
You know who's playing in Oklahoma this weekend?
Nope.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Neil Diamond?
Bon Jovi.
Oh,
Bon Jovi.
So you tell me I could go gamble for free? Well, I mean, obviously, but gamble legally.
Yeah, right.
Smoke weed, and then just in the same hotel casino, go watch Bon Jovi as well. Yeah, let's go to Oklahoma, which is not something anybody should ever say.
I drove through Oklahoma one time.
It's terrible.
Is it a middle state?
Yeah, it's a middle state. Oh, it's a little state? No, it's a pretty big state.
Middle.
Oh, middle state. Yeah, landlocked.
It goes Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska.
Right.
So it's it's middle America.
Yeah, I flew to Chicago, but we couldn't land in Chicago because it was snowing too bad. So we went to Oklahoma. But we were trying to get to Houston.
Oh, you got lucky. They shipped me up to St. Paul, Minnesota.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they were like, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start our final descent into Chicago. and then, no joke, 3 minutes later, ladies and gentlemen, it's your captain. We were going to start our final descent, but 6 inches of snow on the ground. So we've been okay to get to go to be diverted to St. Paul, Minnesota. We'll sit on the runway as long as we can, and we'll try to get you to your final destination.
Dude, man, I sat on the tarmac for 5 hours one time, dude.
Yeah, 3.
3 hours?
Well,
it's
that
horrible,
time,
dude.
and I sat on the
completely horrible, dude.
And then we had to wait out a storm in Manila one time.
Yeah.
That was terrible because I just wanted to be home, and I had to sit there for 4 hours in Manila because the storm had to pass.
I overnighted in Manila. Me and my lady went to Manila, and there was a typhoon that was approaching Manila, or passing through Manila, and like the northern side. So they canceled all flights. We're like, oh shit. We have to spend one more night in Manila.
Oh, how was that for you?
Boo-hoo. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Yeah, we got...
Well, you like Manila.
Yeah, I mean, we got another day of getting massages and...
oh, my goodness, yes.
Manicures and pedicures.
And
drinking... $5 manicures and pedicures.
Drinking the orange drink out of the bag.
Right, I always tell this story is like... my lady, we went to the store, to the whole place where they do it, and she's like, you want to get a manicure and pedicure? I was like, no. What look at me.
Shit felt good.
Yeah.
Shit felt good.
So she's like, okay, well, whatever. And so she goes back and she's like getting her hair washed and stuff like that. She comes out. I'm full on, like 3 people on me. One person doing my hands and feet, or 2 people doing my hands and feet, and one person massaging me at the same time.
Nice.
Godly. Godly.
I was
Sounds
blowing on my
amazing.
nails the whole time. I was
Like scratching myself. I was like, ooh, my nails feel really nice.
I can feel them.
Yeah,
I can feel them.
I can feel my nails. I can feel my nails.
I always like to ask this question, and you know what's crazy is as long as we've been doing podcasts together, I don't think I've ever asked you this question. And I'll give you the Rachel Green clause from Friends, okay?
Okay.
I want you to both answer this question, honestly. And then the second question, answer that even more honestly. Right?
Okay.
So, Boo, what's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie of all time has got to be The Mask.
Okay, what's your actual favorite movie?
The Mask.
Okay, well then what's the favorite movie that you tell people? It's not The Mask.
It is.
Really?
Yes, man. Dude, I love that
What about
movie.
you?
I'm a huge Jim Carrey
Schindler's
fan.
List.
But what's your actual favorite movie?
Weekend at Bernie's.
Okay.
Fuck, that is a really good movie,
Yeah.
actually. Weekend at Bernie's.
So see, for me,
You know, they don't make movies like Weekend
No.
at Bernie's
Yeah,
anymore.
no.
Or like Goonies.
Yeah.
yes.
Goonies.
Okay, so
Right,
so
right.
The
mine.
Sandlot.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
so
yeah.
mine.
They don't make
Gosh.
movies like that.
okay,
anymore.
I gotta retract my statement then.
So mine is
Ninja Turtles, Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah. Oh God, greatness. TGRI.
oh my god.
Bro, they were up to no good, bro. The whole time. So if you ask me,
I only ate Chico Stick because Michelangelo was crunching on a Chico Stick in Secret of the Ooze and annoying the shit out of Donatello. And I will only eat a Chico Stick like how Michelangelo ate the Chico Stick.
if it weren't for Fuller from Home Alone, the first one, and Michelangelo from Secret of the Ooze, I would have never tried cheese pizza. But I had to have it because of that. But if you ask me, my favorite movie that I'll tell you is Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
It's a good one.
But what's your real favorite movie?
La Bamba.
Not Richie.
And me and this guy figured out a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, that the number one song of September 1987 was
What were we talking
La
about?
Bamba.
What were we talking about?
I don't even know, man.
So I did this quiz, just for the show, right? And I you'd have to ask Matt. Right, yeah, Matt's at the helm. Matt, pull this up. Number one song from when you were born. And then if Josie wants to, she can tell you the year she was born, but she doesn't have to. But I can tell you this: I was born in '84, and so the number one song on August 15th, 1984, the number one song in the land was Ray Parker. Who you gonna call?
Ray Parker Jr.
Ray Parker Jr.
Excuse you.
Who you
Yeah,
gonna call? How does it go? How does it go? How does it go?
Who are you gonna call Ghostbusters?
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, Ghostbusters.
Oh, that's how it's. Okay, so I was telling you.
that song, the Ghostbusters
I think that's how our
theme song was
conversation
my
started.
number one song. Was the number one song when
Because
I was born.
telling you, I just watched Ghostbusters. That's what
The
it was. I
So
was
we're-
like,
Like
So-
you saw it for the first time.
no.
Oh.
I told him the other before he texted me. I was like, oh shit, last night I just watched Ghostbusters 2, and it like brought me back.
Did you watch the new one? I
Hey,
haven't seen the new
no,
one with
I
the
didn't
girls.
No,
I
the
didn't
girls.
watch it either.
No,
I
I don't
couldn't.
even bother.
You guys don't
Not
like
because it's
women?
girls. It's because
Whatever.
It's because I don't like reboots that aren't
Yeah.
dinosaurs. I had to cover my ass right there.
Well done.
So I don't like
Well
reboots
done.
that don't involve dinosaurs.
Right,
Well done. Good save.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to watch the Oceans.
Me
Oceans
too.
8.
Me too. You know why?
Rihanna.
How did you know? Oh, because WhatsApp, right?
Yes, I'm like, why is
With
his
Rihanna?
Why is
My-
his
my
WhatsApp
WhatsApp picture?
Picture is Rihanna.
When I
I'm like,
text
who
you,
is
it's
this?
Rihanna drinking outside.
Okay, there's one actress I'm interested in that is Aquafina. Aquafina, she's actually a rapper, and
The-
she sings
The
like
Asian girl?
Yeah. Her name's her hip hop name
Like
is
the water,
Yeah, but it's like Aquafina. It's
right?
like
Isn't that a water?
yeah. It's like AKWAFENA. That's how she spells it, Aquafina. So, and she's really good. Her songs are like really catchy and stuff like that. We'll play, but
She,
I gotta put this on YouTube.
is she
later,
also
so.
pretty?
Oh,
Did you
no.
notice?
No, I didn't notice. I think she is. Yeah.
No, but I'll be
She
honest.
gotta be
to be in a
with
movie,
it.
right?
Sandra Bullock, Mindy Kaling. Which, by the way, can I just say
She's come a
this?
long way.
Can I just say this? I don't know y'all's stance on this. We have not talked about this prior to this episode, but I am the best rewatch value of any show I've ever come across. I Love Lucy is great. 70 Show is great. But The Office. is the best rewatch value show that is out there. And so anything that anybody from that show does, I am
You're in it?
I'm all in. And I don't even like Mindy. I mean, like, I love Kelly Kapoor, you know, but like, but you know, I've read some excerpts of her book, and she seems very like full of herself and pretentious. But I'm still. Down.
I mean, John Krasinski, man, he's been playing some good roles too, man.
Great roles.
Yeah.
Yeah. He played the Navy SEAL.
Right.
And then he did that. Did you see that the horror movie that he just did?
Are you an Office fan? You ever watch The Office?
I've seen some of it, but I didn't like stick with it.
You gotta watch it. It's easy to get attached to because it's 20 minutes long, and
I would suggest this, Josie. If you ever got the inkling to watch it, binge the whole thing like a long movie, because that's how I consume.
Is it on
Breaking
Netflix?
Bad. Yes, it's on
Okay.
Netflix. Season 1 through season 8.
Okay.
And you will see, as you come to love it, you will have that moment where you're like, oh, I'm done. But you won't stop watching it.
Right.
And I say that because that's when Steve Carell leaves. He doesn't leave halfway through, but he does leave. And when he leaves,
spoiler alert.
that's not. I mean, it's been 10 years. It ended in 2014.
You know, that's a good thing to talk about. Like, what qualifies as a spoiler alert? How much time after an episode comes? How much time after the Game of Thrones episode comes out are you
Ooh.
allowed to
So,
speak about the Game of Thrones episode?
I'm glad you brought this
A
up.
month or two?
So,
Month?
A
I would say
month?
a month.
That
yeah.
long?
by the way,
Yeah.
I got to show you something.
But the internet's like hours.
I got to show you
I feel
something.
like once the episode has played in every time zone, then
that
that's
can
it.
qualify.
So,
You know?
so Facebook, and I saw this on my show prep service, is that Facebook is about to implement this snooze button, to where you can basically be like, I watched The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, and Lost, and I want to turn notifications for any mentions of these shows off.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And so they're about to. It's not implemented yet, but I read the story either yesterday or today that, like, Matt, pull this up.
You were just building it up for that.
It's the only
He's
reason
just
we're doing this.
That's the only
He's
reason why we're
looking
here.
now. He's like, what else can I talk about that Matt can pull up?
No, Matt. No, seriously, Matt. Pull up Facebook snooze button. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Because, but it is pertinent because exactly what Josie just said. It is like you are going to be able to mute certain terms, certain like character names and all this kind of stuff. And I think that that's going to be a really big deal. You know,
Right.
like I don't know if Twitter or Instagram or any of these other places are going to follow suit, but I do know that like I mean, have you ever seen that? Like, have you ever had something ruined for you by Facebook?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Like, I didn't watch The Sopranos,
All the time.
but like people were just like, "Oh my God, The Sopranos!"
Game of Thrones spoilers. All the time, man.
Oh, that's how I learned that Jon Snow died.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. He don't make it, or
Yeah, okay.
does he?
Okay, here we go.
There we go.
Okay, Facebook is introducing a new
Deadline,
This is come from
Hollywood.
Deadline.com. A new feature that will allow users to avoid seeing plot spoilers to the Westworld Season 2 finale or the results of Mexico-Sweden World Cup soccer match in their news feeds. Dubbed keyword snooze, it gives Facebook users the option to temporarily block posts from people, pages, and groups from showing up in their news feed. It's similar to the muting features other platforms, including Twitter and Instagram, offer through advanced settings. Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like you
I
said,
like that. That's
yeah.
useful.
Yeah. So it could be. It could be, yeah. It could
So
be
I
very
guess that
useful.
answers your question. It doesn't really matter because now they have the snooze button, right?
Right.
Or,
Well, I always gave people the courtesy of 24 hours.
Yeah.
Because I think if you're really into a show and that's your shit, then
Yeah.
if you haven't seen it within that day,
Within the hour.
then
yeah.
that's really not your shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I felt like that about I'm really into Silicon Valley.
Movies
one
are
of my-
different though.
Yeah, movies are different.
way different. So there should be like maybe a month or so. Or I don't know, a week, 2 weeks. I mean, but I think if you are a diehard Walking
Especially
Dead
you
fan,
can stream shows now.
yeah, or a Game of Thrones fan.
well, And you can almost like, I mean, like I don't subscribe to HBO via cable, but I have the app. You know, and I pay the whatever $15
I have
bucks
HBO
a month.
Go,
Yeah, I
yeah.
got HBO Go too. You know, so I mean, like, and she's exactly right. You know, I mean, it's on me. Like, I didn't watch a second of Westworld.
Yeah.
Not this whole season.
Yeah.
You know, so like the fact that I was still seeing, you know, spoilers and all this stuff on the internet. It was just like I didn't care because I wasn't watching it. But like even if I wasn't, like it would be on me. Like even if I was an episode behind and I just whatever slacked.
Yeah,
on watching
I think
then,
it matters to the person. They have to be anticipating.
Because like even though it
something
did
that's
spoil
coming
it
up.
for me, I took it because I'm like, well, it's on me because I didn't watch it. So.
Yeah, I should have watched it.
But
I had time and
I don't like
just
the people
didn't do
who
it.
live tweet the
I don't.
It's like,
I don't
come
like
on,
that.
don't do
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah.
just that's totally
That's wrong.
That's wrong.
Right.
Yeah, give it a day. Give it 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That way, if you're at work, you can't watch it at 2 o'clock because you're at work or whatever. But you can still go home that night and watch it or whatever. But
Right.
I think for a TV show, 24 hours. Movies are different.
Movies are different.
Yeah.
But you know, there's sometimes where like I'll say something, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like when that's when like when Macaulay Culkin died in My Girl. People are like, oh, spoiler alert. I'm like, you kidding me? That came out like '93. They're like, oh, I was gonna watch it this weekend. I'm like, well, it came out 25 years ago. I'm sorry I spoiled it for you. If you didn't know Macaulay Culkin died, that's on you. He dies. He saves the mood ring and he dies.
Right.
Yeah. It's an act of valor. All right. He dies.
He's the bees.
You know
Put
why?
his glasses on.
He's allergic.
Put his glasses on.
And he steps on them.
He
And
can't see without his
No.
glasses.
but you know, he got his in The Good Son, so it's fine.
Right.
Oh, that's
Remember
right.
that? Remember him and Elijah Wood?
Yes.
Yeah.
Matt, how long we been going for?
2 hours and 20.
We got time.
Actually, I got to cut out of here soon.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I didn't realize we were going for so long. Fuck.
Has this
supposed to be somewhere. I'm
like,
supposed to be somewhere soon.
has this happened on the other 2 times that you guys have done the podcast together, where it just ran long?
I think the first time we did it, I needed to piss. That's why we ended.
No. We both got up in the middle of it and came back. Actually, the last time we did it, I think it was just like, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and go. So, like we just cut it off.
Yeah.
But I think the last time was not this long. I think
No. It was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you going?
So the alumni tournament, FD alumni tournament just started.
Oh,
So I'm
Rumble.
Oh,
trying-
that's
I'm
a
just-
big thing.
Yeah, so
Rumble in the
trying to-
jungle.
Yeah, I'm trying to squeeze everything into everything.
What about this? You're gonna keep a close eye, before you get out of here.
Yeah.
You're gonna keep an eye on the micro games.
The micro games.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe. I don't know. It wasn't in my radar. Yeah.
But the FD alumni tournament is.
That most definitely is. There's a game at 8:20.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, huge deal.
Yeah.
Matt's a graduate. He's my cousin, and I'm a graduate. 05 graduate. He's a 2015 graduate. Him and Brian, and it's just our shit. You know,
Right
it's
on.
like, it's a way to stay connected to the people that have walked the same halls that you have. That you have. You know, it's weird. It's weird in that sense that you're able to still keep this sort of camaraderie. It's more than basketball.
Is it like Truth Hall? You ever seen Stomp the
No,
Yard?
No.
You never seen the final scene of Stomp the Yard?
No.
It sounds exactly like what you're describing. You need to watch the final scene of Stomp the Yard. Yeah. You need to watch what's his name? I forget what the main guy's the actor's name's Columbus Short, which is random that I remember that name, but not the name. Which probably, I think his name's like Dre or something like in the movie. But he like moves from the West Coast to predominantly black college. And he becomes a stepper, you know, like he becomes a Theta.
Yeah.
Theta, we the Thetas. We the Thetas. We the Thetas. Yeah. So to really get a good understanding of that, he has to take a tour.
How do you make that look cool in a movie, like a feature-length movie?
Matt, pull this up. Pull up Stomp the Yard. Pull up Stomp the Yard Theta initiation. So anyway,
nice.
so they
Blake, I gotta go.
You're ready to laugh, right? You're ready to laugh. By the way,
go, Blake.
I see what you did since I came here. I see that you moved that Google Home over there because I've already accused it of murder. So there's audio of Google not. All of a sudden, he asked Google. He's like, Google, how many people go missing in a year? And Google's like, I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. I'm like, whoa.
All of a sudden, Google don't know something.
Here we go. Look at this. Yeah, the theta nu thetas. Told you.
This is the final scene.
Mm-hmm. But before this, he has to go. He has to take a. He basically takes a tour through Truth University to see all of the forefathers that came before him that made it possible for him to express himself via dance in a predominantly black college.
Ah.
And he's black. Also.
Truth University.
Okay.
Is what this is called. It's a fictitious college.
Yeah, fictitious.
But here we go. You want to see stepping at its best, like Sway proclaimed. Here we go. Look, that's Neo, and that is the real Neo.
That wasn't the real Neo.
That was Neo.
Like,
Where's Neo?
all
at?
because of you, Neo?
That's Neo.
That's not Neo.
No, that's
Neo.
Neo. That's
Yeah,
Neo.
yeah.
That's Neo. Here we go. Y'all don't understand. I've watched this movie several times, from start to finish.
Y'all don't understand.
Y'all got no idea my appreciation for this. Because their mascot's the snakes, so the theta.
Oh my god.
I won't keep you after.
Okay,
this we can go. No, we can go after. We can end with this.
Okay,
we can end with this performance. This is a good ender.
This will be our closer.
This will be our closer.
And what
So
a great
basically, if
closer
you're
it is.
listening to the audio, we're watching. If you're not familiar with stepping is like a very popular black culture, college culture sort of thing with the sororities and the
Like
fraternities, right?
What cheerleading and baton twirling is to white girls, stepping is
To the black community.
To the
right?
black community.
Correct.
Also the drum line. But this is about
Drum
this is basically
line.
drum line but
Drum
stepping.
Without the drums.
Yeah,
without
this
the
is
drum.
basically drum line but dance stepping instead of drums. Here we go. Oh, we didn't even scratch the surface yet.
For you, I will watch a 3-minute video.
I appreciate that.
That's really long.
It's over half over. Oh look, we're getting serious because we took off our jacket. We got our wife beater on.
So are they battling?
Yeah, they're battling.
Okay.
Oh, and this is the move of all moves in the stepping community.
Is it a front flip?
Whatever. Oh my goodness.
I can't anymore.
I cannot.
Matt,
I can't even.
It's not over. It's not over.
We saw the
Matt-
final move.
No, that's not the final move.
Matt, take it down.
Take it down, Matt.
Matt, leave.
down,
Matt,
We have
Matt, you leave this up. You can take the audio down, but watch this. Watch. Here we go. Well, no, watch. This is it. This is the final move. This is the final move. Watch. He's gonna go. He's gonna go off by himself. No. Yeah.
I don't
That's
get
it.
That's
Oh
it.
my
I don't
God.
get
That's
it.
it. That's
I
it.
don't get it.
We should have ended at him flying over the other guy.
Yes. Thank you so much for having
Hell
me.
yes.
on.
Thank you. Thank you,
It
guys.
was so cool
Yeah.
to meet you, and congratulations on 150.
150. You guys are 150
Yes.
episodes.
150 episodes.
Holy fuck.
That's
So-
incredible.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
So the way that I like to pigeonhole Boo is I like to book my next appearance in advance live on air.
He's like the guest that keeps on guessing.
I'm trying to break a record.
He's trying to break the record.
Yeah.
And he's trying to prevent Freddie from
Blake
coming back on for at least another 3 months.
When's he coming back on?
I see what you did.
Pretty sure when he comes back from
Because
tour.
you were here twice on your own, and now you need excuses.
You know what? Actually,
Hey,
no.
Can I bring a friend?
Okay,
I'm
so
bringing
real
a
quick.
Friend,
I
quote
got a
unquote friend.
I got
So real
somebody.
quick,
It's
full
not
dis-
just gonna be me this time.
Full disclosure. So 3 weeks ago, full disclosure. 3 weeks ago, I went out to I'm because we haven't. I'm gonna mention them. 3 weeks ago, I went to my favorite, and this is not because they are a sponsor. It's because I really do genuinely love everybody down there. But Moses,
Right.
I went to Moses, and I ran into you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was ready to hang out.
Yeah,
on a Monday.
Right.
I was ready to
Yes.
just let's do it.
Yeah, me and my friend do this Monday night thinkers and drinkers. So we do happy hour and we just talk about anything we can talk about for the next 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, 5 hours, but that's how long it lasts.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
And I ran into him at Moses,
Mm-hmm.
sponsored the show.
Yeah.
By the way, check out their steak karagi. It's great. It's my favorite.
I'm telling you, the Loco Moco is definitely my favorite.
It's
and this
really
is not
good.
an ad.
No,
But
this
it
is
could
not
be
an ad. I'm legit. I'm being legit serious.
My favorite is the blue cheeseburger.
Ooh.
That's my favorite.
You know what they had a special the other day? They made a blue cheese sausage pizza.
Pretty soon they're gonna have to call the blue cheeseburger the classic burger.
That's my favorite.
Just the OG burger.
The OG fucking burger.
But I was like, and I was feeling it pretty good.
You were having fun?
Yeah,
You were having fun? Safe to
And
say?
I told him, I said, I want to come on as soon as ASAP, right? I want to come on ASAP. And it wasn't until, and he was like, fine. And he actually hit me up last week, and he goes, you still down to do a podcast? I go, yeah. He goes, how about next week, Tuesday? I said, okay. And then I think it was Monday where I hit you up and I go, can I bring can I bring somebody on with me? And I didn't even check with her before I asked you.
Oh, no.
No, I was just like, okay, well, like I'm either going to bring her on or not, but like, is it cool? Like if I bring her on. And so then like once you said it, I was like, I just reached out and I go, Josie, would you like to come on a podcast with me? And she was like, I don't.
What are we gonna talk about?
I go, and I think
I can't be interesting for 3
I think
hours.
verbatim the message was like super random, but hey, Josie, you want to do a podcast?
Yeah.
And she was like, sure.
What are we gonna talk about?
Yeah, it's like don't even worry about that. But yeah. So I am trying to block Freddie because I gotta get some ground to gain. But yeah,
I appreciate it. I appreciate you bringing
my
her
birthday's August 15th, right?
on. Is it?
It's coming up.
Your
Nice.
birthday?
Yeah,
You'd be what?
34.
Nice.
Yeah.
Happy almost birthday.
Happy almost birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, by the time this drops, it still won't be your birthday.
You gotta. This is what?
Drop tomorrow.
When's your? You got a podcast booked for August 15th?
No.
Weird.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure.
But I will
no
be.
pressure.
I will be in New Hampshire, so
Ah.
I'm looking to do
Skype me.
Yeah,
Just Skype me.
I'm looking to do a podcast in Boston. I'm looking to do a podcast in New York and San Jose. So
Very
I
that's
got some shit
cool.
planned when I go out there for
Right on.
10
So you're
days.
telling me I'll see you in Boston? All right.
August 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you so much.
Yes.
This was a
Josie,
lot of fun.
Yeah. This is so as Blake knows, this is your opportunity now. This is my thank you for coming on the show and sharing everything that you had to share, but promote anything you like, especially promote your new podcast show.
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Where can they find it? Where can they find
You
it?
can find- it's called
everything
the-
you're doing,
Okay.
put it out. Yeah.
It's called Latitude 13 Happy Hour. And there's one episode out. It came out on Monday. You can get it on iTunes, on the Apple Podcast app. It's on Google Play Music. It's on Stitcher. It's at latitude13.com. You can find me on Instagram as Latitude13, on Facebook as Latitude. Just Google Josie Moyer. You'll find me. And also, I think it's important to be a mentor. So look into becoming a big brother, a big sister with Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Guam. That's a great organization and one that I've been very
part of
happy
for a while, right? Yeah.
Very proud to be with. I was matched up with a little when she was 9 years old.
You Instagram that,
and
yeah.
she is now getting ready to start her senior year of high school.
Wow.
At Southern High.
There's a picture, and Josie, if you follow her at on Instagram at Latitude 13, there's a picture of her when they like the first day they met, and there's a picture of her like both of them like last week.
So she's taller than me.
My sister sort of does the same thing, and she was doing it in San Diego. I believe that she's now doing it in San Jose. But she was.
It's one of those organizations where you don't have to put in a lot of time, and you don't have to volunteer for events and everything. It's just one person.
Right.
They match you on your interests and things like that. They're very good at that, and it's a couple of times a month. And these kids, I benefit from it because I remember what it was like when I was growing up and how important a mentor was to me. And I still remember those people, and they made a difference in my life. So now that's how I'm giving back. So I would encourage everybody to look into Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Guam.
Hell yeah. Blake, what do you got?
Nothing.
I want to know the count at the end of this, or in the description box
Matt,
of this episode.
I got a finna recipe to trade with you later after the show.
Matt, pull it up.
But other than that,
it has to be over 10.
Other than that, I'm just glad I got to come on, and I'm glad that I hope Josie. Honestly, I hope that you come on. Even with
I'd love to have the two of you on my podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
No, but I hope you come on. I hope you come on again. With Boo, just even with or without me.
Yeah, without Blake.
Yeah, it's fine.
We know how disrupting he was to our.
No, but she is. I've been a fan. If I can just say this, is the only thing I would promote. I've been a fan of Josie for a long, long time. Her social media presence is second to none, and I know her. I don't know her personally, but I feel like I know her, enough through her social media presence, and so. This, whether she needed the push or whether she didn't, I'm glad that she started her own podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
But I am glad that she got to come on here because, maybe it's a different forum than her audience would be used to, and I'm glad that she got to kind of come on here and be yourself, and I'm glad that now everybody knows the Josie that I met, a long time ago, because she's got a lot to say and she's a very interesting person. So
right.
That's really I came on here to push Josie, so that's pretty much it.
Hell yeah, most definitely.
Thanks to both of you.
Even though people say oh, you did the first podcast, I'm not a gatekeeper. I want people to do this. I want people to fucking do their own show and express themselves. I feel like it's the easiest way to express yourself and be understood the way you want to be understood. It's truth. That's what podcasts are. Mm-hmm. It's literal truth. And good luck on your journey.
Thank you so
That's
much.
what it's been for me. It's literally changed my life. From the moment I did it to episode 150 now, it's literally changed my life.
He's a better talker.
I am a better talker. I'm a way better talker. Yeah. 10 times better.
Mm-hmm.
But my mindset has also changed.
Nice.
180. I'm more open-minded. I'm more willing to be a better listener than a talker, and understanding where people really are coming from, because life is all the same, right? We live the same concept of what life is, but the details are maybe different, but the details is what helps each other get through the concept of what life is, right? Mm-hmm. So, anyways.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thanks, Matt.
That was very Jerry Springer final thought of you.
Matt,
Be nice to yourself
Matt
and each other.
MVP
We'll see you later.
This episode. Thank you.
Hey, Matt, pull this up.
Listeners, thank you so much. Josie Moyer and Blake Watson again. Blake Watson on the show again. And we're going to have number 7 soon, right?
Tomorrow. We're doing it tomorrow.
And Josie, I hope you come back very, very soon. And
thank you so
much. We'll dig deeper, and not that we didn't dig deep. Sorry, Blake. I didn't mean to demean our conversation here right now.
No. You know what that reminds me, bro? Since you got time, Matt, pull this up. Birds are actually really living dinosaurs. Did you know T-Rex had feathers?
Yeah, they did.
Pull up, T-Rex had feathers.
It did.
You don't have to pull it.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
I super enjoyed myself, even though we both didn't know Josie at the depth that I thought you knew her.
No.
Who is this guy?
Yeah. It's good to share the conversation. It's super important for at least moving forward and getting people to be more open-minded, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what it matters what you say, but what you talk about, the content, the substance. And there was substance here tonight. We learned about fucking Egypt.
Yeah.
That's the first time we talked about Egypt.
We didn't mention death, porn, or Trump. That's really good for us.
It is really good.
It's a good win. Yeah.
So,
Good job, guys.
yeah.
Thank you. Staying strong.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening once again. Maddie loves you. I love you. B loves you.
I love you.
Yeah.
And Chaggy this.
Yeah. Till next time, everybody. Peace out.